I knew that all along, guys. Now, I don't think the game has started, technically. We're looking for anything we can get. There's some protesters. The climate protesters are there. We're looking for... Fox Sports 1 is hosting it as well. Let's find it together. We'll try everything. We're gonna try everything. Okay, so C-SPAN hasn't gone live yet, as far as I can tell. Fox, oh, here we go.
Asada. It's carne asada. That's what I said. Carne asada.
Right now, you can get a free foot-long at Subway. Just buy any foot.
All right. Is it
all over this deal?
Oh.
It only works from the other side of the screen, buddy.
Is it live right now? We're just waiting on commercials. What's a preview pass? I think I'm gonna really need C-SPAN to pick up the live broadcast. We're almost there. There we are.
Sponsored by Aflac, helping people with expenses that health insurance isn't designed to cover. Taking a look at the lineup for the Republicans. They've won 3 in a row as this game gets started tonight. And a lineup that will have Steve Scalise leading off. He's not going to be playing the field, Chad, but the Republicans have been rather dominant over the last 3 years, including a 16-6 win here just last year.
Yeah, Eric Schmidt, who's hitting first, you know, he's somebody who was 6 for 3 last year. His first congressional game, hit that triple off the warning track right in front of the bullpen there, John.
Take a look at Steve Scalise. There is manager Linda Sanchez, who is hoping to pick up her first victory after managing the Democrats for the first time last year. And that's Pete Aguilar. He's your starting pitcher for the Democrats. You may note the San Bernardino on the front of the jersey. The California 33rd District on a perfect night for baseball. 81 degrees. Actually feels a little bit even cooler than that. The humidity is low. The fans coming in through the center field gate on Half Street here in Southeast D.C. and they are set to go as Pete Aguilar's hoping to get off to a good start. We saw Chris DeLuzio pitch last year. Did not fare well, although was pretty good at getting the ball over the plate, but it kept coming back at him. That was the problem. They go with Aguilar tonight.
You know, I talked to DeLuzio's staff this weekend, and they thought that he was getting squeezed a little bit last year, but I'll tell you, he had a rough outing. His first game, he's wearing a Pittsburgh Pirates uniform. They've basically reversed the battery here, John, where last year you had Chris DeLuzio pitching. Now you have Pete Aguilar, who started for many years here. DeLuzio had an ERA of 33 even, but Pete Aguilar in his career 13 and 2/3 innings with an ERA of 7.17.
I think we're
see Chris DeLuzio moving to the catcher position there. Alex Padilla playing.
Does not have a time limit on it.
Kevin Mullen going to be the designated hitter. He suffered an injury, but we talked with Linda Sanchez before the game, and even though he's starting as a DH, we may see him in the field, which is a good reminder that sometimes when it comes to substitutions or pinch runners, there are things that are a little bit different in the Congressional game than you might see in, maybe a Major League Baseball game.
Absolutely. We'll see this here right off the bat here with Steve Scalise. You know, he's not going to play in the field here because of his injuries. He suffered from cancer back again this year. Again, he came back in February. But you're going to see William Timmons, a Republican from South Carolina, kind of get down in a track stance, almost like you're doing the 100-meter dash later this summer at the Olympics. And as soon as there is contact by Steve Scalise, he will take off at first base. We talked last year with Linda Sanchez about whether or not they were making this about 86 feet up the line rather than 90 feet to first base, something that the umpires will look at.
Taking a look at the series history,
So,
we
yeah,
mentioned
the mug,
recent where
great
the
Father's Day
Republicans
gifts.
have been
And I only
dominant,
say that, it's
including
not a
a
sales pitch,
lopsided
it's
win
because
last year.
it's what
This
my
is the
father and
89th
my
time
father-in-law
that these
are getting for Father's
sides
Day
have
this
gotten
year.
together. The slight
So,
edge for the Republicans over time. The Democrats have not won since
check it
2019. There was no
All
game in
5 of you.
2020 for COVID.
Yeah, the Democrats, they last won back in 2019. The score there was 11-2, 21-5 in 2018, 14-7 in 2017. But again, it's been all Republicans in the post-pandemic era.
Well, Steve Scalise is going to lead things off here.
Here we go.
Wearing number 1 on the back of his jersey.
Your wife gets here.
Republicans
Get
clad in
comfortable.
red.
No
The
rain.
Democrats have a wide array of jerseys, mostly from their home districts. The first pitch from Aguilar is across the outside corner, strike 1.
And you see how William Timmons is kind of down in that crouch there, ready to take off if Scalise makes contact.
1 pitch to Scalise, a little bit low. That'll even the count at 1 ball
low.
and 1 strike.
Welcome
You know,
in,
Steve
chat.
Scalise, it's been just amazing this comeback after the shooting back in 2017. Almost 7 years to the date, John, since he was shot on the practice field a few years ago. He came back the next year, and on the first play of the game, he made this diving stop at second base. It was really incredible.
From the Louisiana first, Scalise with a ball hit to the right side. Stanton will throw on a cross, and Padilla can't make the
Anything
play
could
at
happen.
first. And
Look at that.
a hit for Scalise to lead it off.
Scalise on first.
William
And
Timmons.
Ciscomani running
You're a
at first
bigger.
base.
Yeah, William
Timmons,
Timmons.
excuse me.
Yeah, William Timmons. He took off there on contact. It was a bit of a slow hit ball, which is why I think Stanton had a little bit of trouble there, and kind of handcuffed Alex Padilla, the senior senator from California. This is his first congressional game here down at first base. I should point out that Alex
Number
Padilla,
4.
we have
needs to
roommates
work
on that side of the field.
shoulders.
He is a roommate of Tony
That's why I
Cardenas,
didn't
who
get
is
that.
the right fielder for the Democrats.
So coming to the plate now,
Let's see what we can do here.
and stepping in with a runner at first base as Eric Schmidt, the left fielder, hailing from Missouri. Schmidt had a terrific game here last year.
And I tell you, it's just amazing how much hitting prowess he brought to the game last year. But he looks thinner. He has lost 25 pounds, he tells me, in the offseason.
And Shrouding Timmons will get down to second base and just in ahead of the tag, a stolen base. That will put a runner in scoring position for the GOP, and still nobody
Danger
out.
Russ,
Here in the
have you
top
ever
of the
sat
first, we get another look.
For too long.
You know, I was
and your
wondering a
legs
little
going
bit
up.
here. They had a
Of course.
real problem with injuries in last game, the last year's game with the Republican runners here. We had 3 guys pull up with hamstring injuries.
Let's do.
Oh, Schmidt is ready. The junior senator from Missouri gives this one a charge. It will go up the gap and be picked off by the left fielder
Not
Morgan
an athletic
McGarvey.
bunch.
Around to score is
The
Timmons.
Democrats
That's
so
a
far.
double for Eric Schmidt and the Republicans. It does not take long. They are on the board, 1-0 GOP.
Yeah, this is right where the Republicans left off last year. You know, they really poured it on the Democrats in the early going here. It does seem, however, that Pete Aguilar does not have some of the same control issues that Chris DeLuzio had last year, John.
Really nice swing there, and you see the reaction, and Eric Schmidt with a big knock to put the Republicans up early, and that will bring to the plate third baseman August Pfluger.
August Pfluger might get
What's
some
up,
action
chat?
on the mound later. Greg Stubbe is going to be the starting pitcher for the Republicans. We're told by Roger Williams, the Republican manager from Texas. And interesting thing here, John,
that's
I
my
didn't
dog.
quite pick up what it was here, but Linda Sanchez, the Democratic manager, went all the way out to left field. I don't know if she was checking on her left fielder, Morgan McGarvey from Kentucky, or what happened there, but she went all the way out to left field there for a second.
Walking her way back to the dugout now as Pfluger comes to the plate. He played baseball at the Air Force Academy, representing Texas 11th District, Midland, Odessa,
C-SPAN
Midwest
should,
Texas.
not be so biased.
Aguilar in a bit of a
Twitter or
jam,
YouTube,
still
their
looking
clips are
for the
clearly
first
tilted
outs.
one way.
And a pitch
The
that's a
Mrs.
little
David
low and
Lloyd
away.
has
Ball 1.
arrived.
As I was going to say there, August Pfluger, we'll see him probably pitch the last 2 innings. They'll let Greg Stubbe go the first 2 innings and then bring him in from the bullpen later on.
Pfluger down the middle and a base hit to left field. Coming around third is Schmidt. This
And it's
ball's
really
gonna go all
entertaining
the way
because
to the
these are
wall.
not an athletic bunch.
That is back-to-back doubles, and That is where Pfluger will hold up. It is 2-0 with the Republicans on top now. 3 straight hits to open up the game.
You know, Morgan McGarvey out in left field, he was the catcher last year, and it looked like he kind of overran the ball. And actually, he might have an injury. He is signaling something here, which might have been the problem. Maybe that's why Linda Sanchez went out there just a couple of moments ago, but it looks like he's limping a little bit, but he looked like he overran that ball. Something that Roger Williams said is that he did not want his team to give up extra outs, and this is exactly what the Democrats have done in the early going here, and they're going to make a change. This is a hamstring injury. That bug bit the Republicans last year. It seems to be biting the Democrats early this season.
Yeah, you could see the moment that Morgan McGarvey pulled up a little lame and going for that ball. So, as Greg Stubbe comes to the plate, he will, as Chad mentioned,
be local here in Sarasota.
The pitcher when the Democrats come to the plate in the home half of the first. Stubbe has 3 wins on the mound in the Congressional baseball game against just 1 loss. 19 2/3 innings, 15 strikeouts. But right now, he's at the plate where he's pretty good at this too. First pitch is away for a ball. Stubbe hit a home run here a couple of years back.
Everybody'd be aware of,
and I don't mean that it just rolled its way to the wall. I mean it went in the stands and went out.
Yeah, regular major league home run, John.
He was in like critical
swing and a miss by Stubbe there, and that'll even the count.
Off-speed pitch there by Aguilar here. You know, we know that he tries to change speeds just a little bit. He commented to me last year that he didn't think his breaking stuff was working as much, but that was pretty good evidence there that he got something.
1-1 and a swing and a miss. Suddenly Aguilar dealing here, getting ahead in the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
But it's not really live.
It's live.
Yeah, but there's like a delay on YouTube.
Stubbe representing Florida 17th and around Sarasota.
Stubbe in his 3 games played, 6 hits, 13 at bats, a robust batting average of .462, John.
That'll get it done in any league.
Certainly in this one, I'll tell you.
Certainly in this one. 3 hits already for the GOP and looking for more. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Aguilar ready to deal to Stubbe. And a swing and a miss, and Stubbe strikes out. What a comeback pitch for Aguilar to record the first out of the top of the first.
That's a big strikeout for Pete Aguilar there. Certainly a morale boost early on when they had no outs. I noticed that the infield was in. They were going to try to hold the runner on second there as much as they could here. And hopefully if the ball went to the outfield, not concede a run.
Joni Ernst has been
Brad Finstad at the plate here. He's the shortstop tonight, and a swing and a foul coming up the third base line.
Finstad into the lineup this year. Bill Huizenga, the Republican from Michigan, usually plays shortstop. He has a knee injury, not in the game tonight. So Finstad, the freshman from Minnesota, he is in.
Minnesota First District, Southern Minnesota, Rochester, Mankato, 0-1.
And impressive. I didn't even notice.
0-1 pitch, swung on and hit to shorts, fielded by Goldman, and he cannot come up with it.
Yeah, Dan Goldman, he looked up to first base to Padilla at first base, maybe trying to get that ball over there before he looked the ball into the mitt. Looks like the Democrats are just a bit nervous here in this first inning, John. A lot of new ball players. You know, you put the extra stand on the deck here and the lights and everything, and a lot of the ball players, you talk to them, they get in the stadium, this is not like the practice field back in Virginia or D.C.
That'll bring right fielder Jake Elsey to the plate. And Aguilar trying to get out of the top of the first. Still only 1 out. E6 is the call as Goldman boots it and cannot make the play.
So I just want to let you guys know I actually bought
a 1-1 pitch.
My family.
Swung on and hit to third. Fielded by Stanton. Will go for the safe play and get the force out at third. And that is the second out. Republicans still with runners at first and second.
Smart play by Greg Stanton. They're getting that lead runner, especially when the Republicans have a couple of runs up on the board. He fields it cleanly, looks the ball into the glove, gets the force out at third base.
Dishwasher safe, microwave safe.
No, just kidding.
So center fielder Blake Moore at the plate now. Dems trying to get out of this.
Blake,
with minimal damage.
Blake Moore, now the vice chair of the House Republican Conference, congressman from Utah. He won the high school Heisman Trophy as a quarterback in 1997. Pretty good athlete.
Looks at the 0-1. This will stay away for Aguilar.
And he was also one of the players who came up lame last year. He got a hamstring as well. He was playing center field, and Jake Elsey, who was just up, he had to step in center field for him.
It's from Aguilar. A nice little bit of movement coming across the plate.
Yeah, that seems to be the difference this year so far from Aguilar. Off-speed stuff, keeping the batters off balance.
Off speed and had a nice little break to it. So 1 ball and 2 strikes. Aguilar can't find the plate here. Low and away, ball 2.
Trying to get him going fishing there, John.
Bring it in, then bring it back outside. Moving the ball around the plate. Aguilar tries to finish it. This one swung on and hit to right center field. That is in for a hit. Fielded by Jimmy Panetta. 1 run will score. Another runner coming around from third. A play at the plate. DeLuzio makes the tag, and he's safe. It's a 2-run single for Blake Moore, and the Republicans doing big damage here in the top of the first.
There's some sort of argument here. Dan Goldman immediately put his hands up, as did Greg Stanton, the third baseman from Arizona. And Linda Sanchez was saying something to the umpire from the dugout there, John.
It's home plate umpire Jerry Park. See a look there. That was a very close play at the plate. DeLuzio standing right there and trying to swing that around. So much for minimal damage against Aguilar and the Democrats here in the first. 4 runs on 4 hits. An error to boot.
Morgan Luttrell, the catcher.
Taking the first pitch away, a ball. Morgan Luttrell from the Texas 8th District in and around Houston. The ball stays up. Assumed office in 2023. A Navy SEAL for 14 years. And ahead of the count, 2 balls and no strikes. Aguilar swings, and this one right up the middle, a base hit. A hitting clinic for the GOP here in the top of the first, as Moore comes all the way around to third base.
And Morgan Luttrell goes to second base. The throw came in slowly from Jimmy Panetta to Greg Stanton at third base. Smart base running there by Morgan Luttrell. He goes all the way to first, goes all the way to second. Never stopped as he came around first base.
Chad, you and I talked with Roger Williams, the manager for the GOP, before the game, and he was quick to tell us, look, you can call it a bipartisan event, but that's not how we look at it. We're here to win, and we are here to play fundamental baseball, just keeping the balls in front of you, hitting, being smart about it.
That's actually only.
Yeah, he certainly knows what he's doing here, as it 4 runs across and threatening for more.
Yeah, no, he played professional baseball. He was a Braves farmhand here. He says, throw the ball over the plate. Also, he says, don't give them extra outs and run the bases clean.
Good example of that as Luttrell ends up at second base. Randy Feenstra will swing at this and foul it back up and over the screen. Feenstra of Iowa, 4th District, in office since 2021.
No, I am. I need to.
We talked about how it's kind of hard to keep track of some of the players. All the Republicans, they wear the same uniform. They do wear different ball caps. The Democrats, they wear pretty much anything. You see community colleges, you see Major League Baseball uniforms. The catcher, DeLuzio, has a Pittsburgh Pirates uniform, wearing number 17. That's his congressional district. And Fernando Valenzuela, of course, that's what Linda Sanchez is wearing. She was an Angels fan. They got rid of Nolan Ryan, and then she says she converted to the Dodgers.
Feenstra will swing and put this again up and out of play. Still behind 1 ball and 2 strikes. Had a chance to talk with Feenstra before the game and saw the hat up close that he wears. He's wearing it on the scoreboard right now on his picture out there. A big Minnesota Twins fan. The old Block M for the Twins. As Feenstra will hit this to second base. The play from Ruiz on to Padilla, and the inning is over. 4 runs on 5 hits, 1 Democrats error. And the Dems trying to do something about it in the bottom of the first. 4-0 GOP.
4-0 GOP.
Yeah, first inning.
It's not bad. It's a good start.
I am not ready. Sorry, you've got to give me a second.
Oh, who's this?
Wait, what is this?
I think it's whoever's on C-SPAN's end of things. That's funny. So, how are we gonna break up the monotony of resuming shortly?
You could tell Joe.
And live from Nationals Park in Washington, D.C. this evening, the Congressional baseball game with Republicans versus Democrats. Republicans defending their win last year, 16-6.
We don't have to do it right now, but I just want to let you know, Chad, it's coming. It's coming this week. It's great. It's a great Father's Day gift, you know?
Seriously, guys, I literally bought every man in my family 1 to 2 of these mugs.
Yeah.
We're back.
The House will be in order.
This year, C-SPAN celebrates 45 years of covering Congress like no other. Since 1979, we've been your primary source for Capitol Hill, providing balanced, unfiltered coverage of government, taking you to where the policies debated and decided, all with the support of America's cable companies. C-SPAN, 45 years and counting, powered by cable.
Sorry, guys. It's this or Fox Sports. So we only had about an hour until we had to get a membership or log in. So it's C-SPAN it is, you know? What do you think?
You caught me. I'm always watching your channel.
She watches my channel for fun. That's how I know. She really loves me. No, just kidding. Okay.
So far in the first inning, but it doesn't get any better than having dogs at the park. And no, we aren't talking about the summer series that the Nats have here every year, having some dogs at the park. We're talking about an awesome dog down here on the field that is catching some frisbees. We don't know his name yet, but I feel like because we don't know his name, we could name him. I feel like we could do that. So what are you guys thinking? Do you have any brainstorming thoughts up there?
Maybe we call him Chad. What do you think?
I was thinking some baseball term here. Maybe balk or something. I don't know.
Strike.
Taking a look at the starting lineup for the Democrats, Raul Ruiz is going to lead it off. They're going to need some hits from somebody. We need the dog to chase down some balls. A lot of them are going to the wall and going to the outfield, as the Republicans certainly had a pretty good turn of it at the plate, Chad. They're going to have to counter that offensive effort. As we take a look at Greg Stubbe, we talked with Roger Williams before the game about what makes him successful, and he said he throws strikes, and that's what you need to do. He was really good at doing that last year. We'll see what happens here.
Even his off-speed stuff. He has an ERA of 6.76, a 3-1 record here at 19 2/3 innings. 28 runs, 19 of those earned. He's back on the bump tonight, again wearing the MAGA hat like last year.
19 2/3 innings, 15 strikeouts. Mentioned the ERA of 6.76. Raul Ruiz leads it off for the Democrats here. We'll see if Stubbe is finding the strike zone, as his manager said he's awfully good at. This one blowing away to start.
Ruiz, 10 games played here, 29 at bats, 7 hits, a batting average of .241.
C-SPAN problem.
Was an emergency physician in the Coachella Valley, California 25th, Riverside, San Bernardino, Indio, Needles.
His roof last year.
Ruiz ahead on the count, 1-0. This will drop in for a strike.
Also the first Latino to receive 3 graduate degrees from Harvard. And, you know, he was the leadoff hitter a couple of years ago when Steve Scalise came back. Steve Scalise hit the ball right at him, and he put out Ruiz at first base. One of the most dramatic moments in Congressional baseball history.
Stubbe's pitch stays up. Ruiz gets this one in the air. Schmidt will give it a run, but it is well back in the seats. Stubbe having the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
With the mug. So
Eric Schmidt, as you say there, John, is in left field. Blake Moore in center field. Jake Elsey in right. Brad Finstead, you talked about, he's at shortstop. Brad Wenstrup at second base.
Here's the pitch. Stays up just a little bit. Evens the count.
Ball 1.
At 2 balls and 2 strikes.
August Pfluger over at third. And Morgan Luttrell, he's the catcher.
Democrats looking to answer after a 5-hit, 4-run top of the first for the guys in red. Stubbe's pitch gets away from him high and up off of the glove of Morgan Luttrell. So a full count. Ruiz potentially trying to work a base runner here. Stubbe trying to find a strike zone. A little bit in and out here to start.
I was talking to Roger Williams the other day about the speed that these pitchers throw. You know, they tell me that it's pretty fast if it's 65, 70, maybe 75 miles an hour.
That one looked to be up and in, but Ruiz took a hack at what might have been ball 4 and fouls it up and out of play. We'll do it again.
Yeah, this is something else that the Democrats wanted to do, and I talked about August Pfluger coming into pitch here. If they can get deep in the count here with Greg Stubbe, maybe get into the bullpen. Blake Moore can pitch. Also Eric Schmidt. Neither of them pitched in last year's game.
Here's the 3-2 from Stubbe. And swung on and popped up. Luttrell comes back to try and make the play, and he cannot come up with it. Ruiz gets new life.
And that's exactly what Roger Williams talked about, not giving the other team extra outs. And, you know, that foul ball, this always happens. You always hear this with catchers, that all foul balls, pop-ups behind the plate tend to drift back toward the plate. That's exactly what happened there. And Luttrell looked like he might have overrun that ever so slightly.
8th pitch of the at-bat here. Stubbe trying to get the first out here in the first inning. Swung on and belted to left field, a base hit. Ruiz works the count and gets on to lead it off here for the Democrats as Schmidt will wheel it back to the infield. Here's a look at the alignment defensively for the GOP. Eric Schmidt in left field, Blake Moore in center. That's Jake Elsey in right.
Just a little more so far.
Stubbe on the mound with Pfluger at third, Feenstra at first, Stan and Wenstrup up the middle.
And that's exactly what's going to burn Roger Williams here. We have a pinch runner in the game here right now for Raul Ruiz here, but the fact that they had the out, they had the pop up behind the plate, and then Ruiz gets the single to left, and it gives the Democrats their first base runner of the night.
So last year's starting pitcher for the Democrats, Chris DeLuzio, steps in. And a stolen base here, overrunning the bag, jumping back on. DeLuzio catching in this one tonight.
And that is Greg Kazar who's running the bases. He is considered, John, to be the fastest man in Congress. He won the Capitol Challenge just last month. 3 miles in 19 minutes and 33 seconds. And being a pinch runner, he's wearing the University of Texas at San Antonio Roadrunners jersey.
Ran a 4.18 mile in high school too as DeLuzio pops it up on the infield, and Pfluger will call up everybody and make the catch. Leaning back as he did so, that will strand Kazar at second base with 1 out.
That fell through, John.
They're going to say, oh, it did come down, so they're going to say that's a hit.
Yeah.
No infield fly rule in this game, I suppose.
Not yet, but we have an infield fly rule set up right now. You know, first, second, or first, second, and third with less than 2 outs. So you could have an infield fly rule right now as Jimmy Panetta comes to
some other way. It could just be where
Panetta will step in, the center fielder for tonight, and Stubbe, who ran into very little resistance in his 5 innings last year as he started and got the win, his third ever. And here is a swing from Panetta, hitting it to second and across to first for the out. Wenstrup to Feenstra, but a hit to the right side, that's certainly not a problem. That's going to move up the runners, and now a base hit could score 2.
Do you think there's like an age cutoff, like the Diane Feinstein?
That's what they're looking for right there. So here's the replacement who came in. Remember, Morgan McGarvey had to come out, came up lame with a hamstring there, John. This is Kevin Mullen, who had the tremendous defensive prowess last year. So he's into the game right now. At the bat, made this spectacular circus catch last year.
Kevin Mullen, good in the field and good at the plate. He is the designated hitter, and yes, it did come into left field. So now a position player. We did talk with Linda Sanchez before the game, saying that Kevin would find his way into the field, probably not as quick as he thought he would.
Yeah, perfect batting average, 1 for 1, batting 1,000.
The pitch from Stubbe is inside. And Mullen works the count at 2 balls and no strikes.
John, we have a special guest up here right now. We have the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, who has just arrived. Mr. Speaker, welcome.
Mr. Speaker, very glad to meet you.
This is your first time as the Speaker of the House at a congressional baseball game. Now, you never played baseball, but you're a fan of the Texas Rangers.
I am. Yeah, it's the closest team to our Northwest Louisiana hometown in Shreveport, Louisiana. And what a great night for baseball, right? Perfect weather. Great esprit de corps out here, and the biggest crowd we've ever had for a congressional baseball game.
Now, did you come to the game last year?
Yes, I make it every year, but this is the first time I think we're at 28,000 tickets sold, upcoming. I explained that already, and over $2.2 million raised for charity.
And I know that you are a football fan because I have seen a signed Joe Burrow LSU helmet in your office. So
right.
I know where your allegiances lie in that sense.
Well,
So Mullen at the plate. And a 2-ball and 1-strike count after the foul number in front of the GOP dugout. And this ball will stay up and away. It's a pretty good year to be a Texas Rangers fan, by the way.
How about that?
That's pretty good time.
Yes, indeed. They're doing well. We're not fair weather fans, but it's always good to cheer for winners. But yes, LSU double alum. That's what my allegiance lies. And we went to the national championship game in 2019 when Burrow led the team.
Yeah, got you and Steve Scalise in there too, as well.
We did. We went with Trump on Air Force One to the game. You can't tell.
That's a tough experience to beat, no doubt about that.
Somebody's got to do it.
Now, what's your impression of the game so far? This is kind of what happened last year. The Republicans jumped out to a big lead early on. Same thing here, but the Democrats are threatened.
Well, listen, I tell you what, these guys practice. They put so much time in, so much discipline, love of the game, and love for the cause out here. And it's just it's a great event. I mean, this has been going on, as I'm sure y'all have explained, since the early 20th century. 1909 was the first congressional baseball game, and it's such a rich tradition, and to see it grow every year is so amazing.
You know, not all speakers of the House like this as much as you do necessarily. Champ Clark, who was Speaker of the House in the early 20th century, he tried to ban the game. Sam Rayburn tried to ban the game. Actually was successful for a couple of years because of so many injuries. Champ Clark, they were trying to play a game in 1914. He actually sent the House Sergeant at Arms to get people back to the Capitol to debate an agriculture appropriations bill.
If I did that, Chad, they would vacate me immediately.
Mullen swings and puts it into left center field. This will drop, and a base hit as Mullen able to find a seam. And in to score is Kazar. The Democrats are on the board.
Fastest man in Congress coming across the plate there, kind of waving his hand. This is kind of what the Democrats needed compared to last year. They did not necessarily get that offensive bump right off here. And I think, John, they're going to put in a designated runner here for Mullen. We talked about his knee injury, so somebody else is going to come in to run for him momentarily here. I believe that's Mark Beasley.
That would be a good
I take that back. That is West Point, Pat Ryan from upstate New York.
And the reason I say that, look.
And coming to the plate here, first baseman Alex Padilla.
He's not a Fed. He represents Feds.
This is Padilla's first game here.
California Senator since 2021, replaced Kamala Harris.
Only a couple of senators in the game here. Joni Ernst on the Republican side. Mr. Speaker, why don't we have more senators in the ball game here?
You know what?
You talked to McConnell about that, Schumer?
Oh, is McConnell
I should. You know, the average age in the Senate is a little higher than the House. Okay, so we'll give them a pass on that. But it is fun to see them all out here participating, and they're cheering along. Eric Schmidt's out there, one of the biggest players on the field. He's got a bunch of senators wearing his jersey over here in support of him. It's a great thing to see a bicameral participation.
Right. A double steal for the Democrats will move DeLuzio up to third base, second and third, and only one out as the Democrats trying to get a couple more back here.
You know, we talked about Steve Scalise here, and of course you were in the House then. You're close friends with him, and there was that tragic morning in June of 2017, just a day before the congressional baseball game. Tell us about your experiences that morning, your relationship with Scalise, and kind of what happened to you then.
Well, Steve is like my brother.
Here's a fly ball into right field that is going to drop. DeLuzio is coming around to score. And a second run here in the bottom of the first for the Democrats as Stubbe having some trouble here, giving up hits. Not like that we saw last year. Padilla with a great swing here.
Yeah, he's a rookie out here. First game, another pinch runner coming in here for Alex Padilla at first base.
Pretty good hit. Yeah, Scalise is like a brother to me. We grew up together in Louisiana. I've known him half my life. I followed him by a few years at LSU and then to the state legislature and then to Congress. And so when that happened to him, it was a tragic day. I remember vividly, moment by moment. We thought we were going to lose him. And they called us. This is a little known fact of history, but they called the Louisiana delegation members and said, prepare your remarks. He will not make it through the night. And Chad, I'm going to tell you guys, I did not do that because I've known Steve Scalise. I know what he's made of. I said, if anybody can survive this, he will. And thank God he did.
And it was amazing to see him come back on the field just a year later. And we talked about Raul Ruiz, the Democrat from California, hitting that very first pitch of the game right to Steve Scalise at second. He made this diving stab on the ground and threw him out at first base.
It was amazing. I don't know anybody else who could have come back and had a victorious return like that. President Trump loves to tell that story. It gets bigger every time he tells it. You know, it's a great. You can't make this stuff up. Steve's just a one of a kind. Now he's survived cancer. Can't hold the guy down, and his spirit's infectious, and that's why he's a great majority leader.
Stubbe in a bit of a jam here as the runners move up to second and third. Pete Aguilar trying to strike a blow for his own cause after giving up 4 runs to the GOP in the top of the first.
You know, Mr. Speaker, you talked about charity. You talked about all the fans coming to the game here. There's so much toxicity in politics sometimes. Talk about what this event means, getting Democrats, Republicans come down the street from the Capitol and kind of get together for once.
It's a great thing, and people anticipate this. They look forward to it all year. We need more moments like this to unify everyone, and for such a great series of causes. It goes to all sorts of local youth charities and youth events, and it unifies us. I wish we had more events like this, honestly. We should work on that. We're trying to build back some esprit de corps in the Congress itself because it's important for the institution to operate.
Does it yield any benefit in that sense? Have you seen any of that in your short time in the leadership?
Well, I have, yeah, and I got stopped by many of my Democrat colleagues and friends on the way up to the booth with you all and wanting to take selfies with their families and all that, and that's just, we need more of this. You know, in the old days, they did a lot more of this.
Aguilar with a poke to center field. Moore is on to make the catch. And a big second out for Stubbe and the GOP after struggling here in the bottom of the first. Nice play by Moore to track that one down.
You know about Blake Moore, right? He was the top high school football player in America. He was quarterback at Utah, won the Wendy's High School Heisman. How about that?
Amazing, 1997. And you're right, you know, he does ride his moped. Yeah. I've seen him pull up just outside the house, go in and vote, get back on his scooter and zip away.
It's totally uncool, but he can pull it off. That's the guy that can pull it off.
Frank Mervan at the plate. And a big swing here.
Democrat of Indiana, northwestern Indiana. Mervan is a kickboxer on the side, John.
Don't want to mess with that.
Yeah.
Trying to come up with a base hit here that would potentially tie the game. Stubbe has allowed 4 hits. And a couple of runs, trying to get out of a jam.
You know, I noticed that Pat Ryan, the pinch runner from upstate New York, he did not tag up on that play and really had to kind of retreat as they tried to get that throw back into the infield there after that fly ball to center field there. But he did get back in time.
Pitch from Stubbe and a swing and a miss from Mervan. Ahead in the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Mervan looking for his first hit in Congressional history. He's played in 2 games. He is 0 for 2.
I don't know if we'll put out
a rock and a wine from Stubbe. And a swing and a miss, and he gets out of a jam. Mr. Speaker, thanks so much for joining us. We step away with the Republicans up 4-2 after an inning.
Son's down here asking if he can have Uber Eats.
What are you going to get?
What do you think, Chad?
You're watching live from Nationals Park in Washington, D.C. Republicans versus Democrats in the Congressional baseball game. Taking a break after this first of 7 innings. Our live coverage continues here on C-SPAN.
It's okay because I talked about Dianne Feinstein playing the game.
MTG versus
Get
AOC.
information from members of government
Is
right in the
MTG
palm of your hand
roster to
when you
see?
order your copy of
Is there
C-SPAN's
something available?
2024
Yeah, I didn't see any
Congressional
links other
Directory,
than-
with bio
don't
and
publicize
contact
this
information for
very well,
every
do
House
they?
and Senate member of the 118th Congress. Important information on congressional committees, the President's Cabinet, federal agencies, and state governors. The
Okay.
Congressional Directory
So,
costs
I know Stu was talking
$32.95
about it
plus
a lot.
shipping and handling, and every purchase helps support our nonprofit operations. Scan the code on the right or go to cspanshop.org. Order your copy today.
You know, I think we're asking a lot here for rosters for each team. Let's see, maybe Joni, Senator Ernst. She's busy. What's going on, chat? Let's go, Michael. 100. That's 300s. That's 300.
300 what?
The MAGA 2024. Let's go. Anybody, I mean, can you even keep track of Joe Biden's gaffes anymore? Did you see him sipping that orange, whatever that orange drink?
Can we talk about gas, though?
Gas?
Yeah, you said Joe Biden and gas. I figured you meant the gas rates.
The gas. I said gas?
I thought you said gas.
Maybe.
Well, okay, but can we talk about gas, guys? Because I've heard a lot of people, you know, ever since Biden got in, talk about, you know, how gas has increased compared to Trump. But let's talk about how truly amazing it was, how low the gas rates were when Trump was in office. Because I'm sure you guys remember how expensive gas was with Obama in office.
For the Republicans, two for the Democrats, standing
$5 a
runners
gallon.
at the end of that. And Chad, just thinking back to our conversation with Roger Williams before the game, Stubby had to throw strikes, had a little more trouble doing that. They got to him a little bit
Looking for a
in
Father's
terms of
Day
hits.
gift.
He breezed
Jack,
through a
where
lot of
could they
his
find a
start
good
last
Father's
year.
Day
This
gift?
was not that.
That was a completely different start than what we've seen from Greg Stubbe last year, and I think that's the Democratic tactic here to try to get deeper into the count, force him to use somebody besides August Pfluger earlier. We talked about Blake Moore, we talked about Eric Schmidt. Those are unknowns, people who the Democrats have not seen. Brad Wenstrup coming to bat now, retiring his last congressional baseball game, Republican, outside of Cincinnati.
It'll be Wenstrup to lead it off, and back to the top of the order after 8 batters went to the plate for the GOP in the first inning.
And we talked about the different hats that they wear, and of course there's a unified hat for the unified uniform for the Republicans. Oh, just beyond Padilla.
Padilla made a run for it, but it's just a long strike for Brad Wenstrup.
What I was going to say about Brad Wenstrup here, we saw him before the game. He was in a U.S. Capitol Police hat. He is generally credited, you know, he's a doctor, with saving the life of Steve Scalise when he was shot on the field.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Aguilar's second inning of work, a rifle to first that Padilla is able to flag down, and allowed out for the GOP to lead it off here as we go back to the top of the order.
Pitch was up in the eyes a little bit there for Wenstrup. Frozen rope right
might be
to
Capitol
Padilla.
Police. I don't think they get.
So John
could be wrong,
Molinar
chat, let me know.
coming into place, vacated by Steve Scalise
They get some
at
sort
the
of
top of the
They
order.
have
Schmidt will be
people
on deck.
protecting them with guns. They hire.
And the first pitch across for a strike. Molinar, Michigan's second district since 2015, north of Grand Rapids, born in Midland, Michigan.
Again, a unified uniform here, but in his publicity photo, Saginaw Valley.
Down even at 1-1. Pete Aguilar looking for a easier second after getting beat around a little bit in the first. And this ball stays low and will bounce away.
You know, something that Linda Sanchez, the Democratic manager, said was that last year was kind of a figuring it out year. They were trying to figure out the players. It was her first year as the skipper and trying to see where everybody fits in. And so far, even though the Democrats are behind, it looks like they're a little bit ahead of where they were last year.
A lot better at the plate right off the blocks here for the Democrats and getting a couple of runs back.
And more aggressive base running. We talked about Greg Kazar. That was a big difference in that first inning.
Oh, to count 2-2. Aguilar trying to put Molinar away. That's going to stay high for ball 3.
Now, we talked about other pitchers here. At some point, you know, would they bring in Chris DeLuzio? He started last year, a rough outing.
3-2, swung on and fouled back. DeLuzio may get an opportunity. Currently catching.
This is live. Jeremy.
Western Pennsylvania, hence Pirates uniform. 3-2 once again here to John Molinar. And a ball that was outside and then hit into left center field, and Molinar is on with a base hit.
Infield was playing him in a little bit. Dan Goldman, the shortstop from Manhattan, he was about parallel with the second base bag. Had he been back kind of on the lip of the infield dirt, he might have had a chance to get there.
This is where Aguilar really needs to bear down. The next 3 hitters coming to the plate, all doing damage throughout their time in this game. Tonight, Schmidt and Pfluger both with doubles. Scored a run too, did Schmidt. On deck is August Pfluger, and then Greg Stubbe, although he did strike out his first time up. Pretty good with a stick too, as Aguilar misses outside. No, they're going to they bring him up for a strike. He won a round.
Yeah. You know, we talked about Eric Schmidt. You know, he was just pounding the ball last year, and he said that he was a little bit nervous, believe it or not. Said that the key to at-bats was just getting the right pitch. He certainly found them last year, and again, he shed all that weight coming into this game.
Ball stays up just a little bit. Maybe a touch outside as well. 1 ball and 1 strike. Eric Schmidt can put a charge in one. Aguilar's got to be careful here. Pitch fouled away. That had something on it.
If you look at the defensive alignment in the outfield here, Mullen playing deep, Jimmy Panetta, the center fielder, way shaded over to left center field, and they're playing deep, John. Tony Cardenas in right field, he's a little bit shallow.
Aguilar ahead, 1 ball and 2 strikes, and a ball outside. That'll even the count at 2-2.
You know, Molinar is still in at first base, something Roger Williams told me. He wanted his guys to continue to run. He didn't want to change out these designated runners every other batter.
Swing and a drive to left field. Mullen charging in and cannot make the catch. That's going to drop. It looked like
it's almost a little better.
As he reached for it, was going to come up with it. Just came out of his glove, and that's going to put runners at first and second. Hard hit ball there by Eric Schmidt as we get another look.
Yeah, they had him played just about right there, and that ball kind of wilted off to the left there. He tried to two-hand it and just didn't put it away, John.
That changes the complexion of the inning a little bit. But now runners at first and second.
Yes, that is
only 1 out, and August Pfluger, who had allowed double the last time up, looking for more here. Aguilar with a ball that will stay low, and 1-0.
Infield at double play depth. Goldman and Ruiz.
Stubbe on deck as a ball stays inside. Got to throw strikes. Aguilar trying to find the strike zone again. Stubbe to be followed by shortstop Brad Finstep. Here's the 2-0. Just a little bit low. And trouble brewing here again for Aguilar and the Democrats.
There's some people
they don't want to load the bases here.
Make it a better game.
Stubbe on deck.
Nancy Mace, I feel like she looked good.
And that's across for a strike.
It is. So this is for charity.
Stepping in here with a 3-ball and 1 strike count.
I don't know if it's
Aguilar throws, and it's ball 4. And as the bases get loaded, Chad, this is a man who can put a charge into one. Greg Stubbe, we told you earlier.
I mean, better spend
hit a ball out. Take a look at
this.
this.
Baseball game in Ukraine, right?
It's deep, and I don't think it's playable.
a
right
lot
into the
more
first
fans.
row.
Yeah, a lot more fans out in left field. They'll get a chance to get a souvenir if he pokes it there.
Like they should be getting
Infield way in right now with no outs.
They certainly know how to bust them in
Goldman,
from all the
Padilla
country.
in on the grass.
Busting them in.
So the base is loaded. Stubbe looking to put a charge into one again. Aguilar needing a ground ball, and the first pitch well outside, and DeLuzio can't find it. The runners do not move up.
Kevin Brady, the former Republican congressman, one of the MVPs of the game, Ways and Means Committee chairman, coaching at third base. He held up the runner at third base, even though that slipped past DeLuzio here. Bases loaded, John. You know, we have had grand slams in congressional baseball history. The first one in 1957 by none other than Gerald Ford. He was a member of the House, later the House Minority Leader, and of course later President of the United States.
Pitch from Aguilar, swing and a miss. That'll even the count at 1-1.
Way in front of that one, John. And Greg Stanton, the third baseman, kind of creeping in there just in case they catch somebody sleeping on the base paths.
Stubbe struck out in the first inning. And another ball up.
I guess that's a point.
Put Stubbe in control at 2-1. So with the score 4-2 here, and a brief interruption, we are very happy to have with us here Steve Scalise is joining us upstairs.
By the way, chat, if you didn't know,
welcome back up to the broadcast booth here. And again, what's it like to be back in the congressional baseball game? I know we talked last year, and you had some health problems again over the offseason, but you're back. Welcome back.
Well, thanks, Chad. And there's nothing like coming back. And, you know, we're here at the Major League Ballpark. We've got a great team. The team, as you can see, is off to a really good start, and we're having a lot of fun. I mean, we practice for months, and we take it serious. You know, we're competitive people, but you know, we're raising over $2 million for local charities here, and it's a really good cause. But again, we're playing to win, and let's keep this going.
Roger Williams made that abundantly clear when we talked to him before the game. He said, you know what, they call this a bipartisan event, but I don't really look at it that way. And the fact that we want to win, they want to win, and to be able to do what you do fundamentally. I mean, that's it. You go out and practice. I mean, I don't know if a lot of people realize you guys are out there at 5:30, 5:45 in the morning to go and do this before you head to the Hill.
Yeah, you know, the schedules are busy when you're up on Capitol Hill during a week of votes. So we have to start early. We start at 6 in the morning. We're finished by 7. But it gets you off to another quad. I don't like getting up that early, but when you're finished at 7 o'clock and you've been playing baseball with your buddies, you know, it makes it easy to get the rest of the day going. But Roger, look, Roger's as competitive as they get. He played in the major leagues, you know, and he played for the Atlanta Braves organization, was a great player himself, and he's a great business leader in Texas. And so, you know, you get the juices pumping when you got Roger out there telling you, you know, you don't want to miss a ground ball. You don't want to strike out.
Talk to us a little bit about your comeback this time. You played in the game last year, had cancer, going through treatments, came back to the Hill, then you were out till about February or so, came back. Talk about the preparation this year compared to your preparation coming back a few years ago.
Yeah, you know, we had a few setbacks, and as you mentioned, I got diagnosed back in August with multiple myeloma, a form of cancer, a blood cancer that fortunately has a lot of good treatments and breakthroughs that have been made over years. And so we were able to get on some really aggressive chemotherapy treatment, and it knocked it out. And within 6 months, we went from being diagnosed to being in remission. And you know, look, it's a nonstop battle. You're always going to be tested the rest of your life, but you also again, modern marvels of science have given us a lot of cures for a lot of different forms of cancer. Still more to go, but you know, I've been blessed.
Talk to us about that moment when you came back the year after you were shot. Raul Ruiz was up, and that first pitch, first hit, first bat, went to second base. What was that like? Describe that to the audience who didn't see it.
Well, Chad, you know, look, and anybody that ever doubts their faith or wonders, you know, if God performs miracles, that was one of those moments. And there were a lot of them, by the way, but it was right there on second base. They had me starting at second, but I couldn't move. I had no mobility, so I got carried out to second base by David Bailey and Crystal Griner, the two Capitol police officers who were with me the day of the shooting and who saved all of us on the ball field. And so they carried me out there, and I really couldn't move around. And Ruiz just cranks the very first pitch, as you say, and he's
off to your right.
Yeah, he's a right-handed batter, so you're thinking it's going to go to third, it's going to go to short. It sure isn't going to go to me. I'm just waving, and I'm going to get out of there after the first or second batter.
Just putting it out
and it comes right to me, a little bit to my right. So I go down, and at that point, the adrenaline takes over, and I said, I'm not letting this ball get past me. So, you know, my momentum took me down to the ground, and I went down and backhanded it and caught the ball. But at that point, I'm on the ground, and I can't get up. But I see him running down the first baseline, so I said, I've got to make this throw now. So I just gave it everything I had, made the throw, threw him out at first, and the place went wild, and everybody's coming to run over. So I said, I better get up or else I'm going to get dogpiled. So I kind of pushed myself up with my hands, and it was everybody was crying because, like, all the guys that were out there were on the ball field the year before, during the practice, during the shooting. And so for everybody, I think it was just a moment of release to say, you know what? This is behind us, and now let's focus on the future. We're not looking back anymore, and it was a good way to kind of put all of that in the past. But it was a magical moment, Chad. It was truly a God moment.
You know, on Fox Nation, this just dropped a couple of days ago. There's a documentary. I know they interviewed you. They talked to me about this. You know, the shooting took place close to my house. I was there in sweatpants, but this is on Fox Nation right now. A documentary hosted by Peter Ducey. Strike Zone, about the entire Congressional baseball practice shooting. A tragic moment, but the fact that you're still here, it tells us there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Well, there absolutely is. And look, the whole story of that was the story of heroes, real-life heroes that were on the ball field. Brad Wenstrup, the doctor who saved my life, who's playing his last game. He's retiring from Congress. I'm going to miss him a lot in a lot of ways, but you know, he kept me going to make it to the hospital. You know, like I said, David and Crystal, the Virginia police who got there, a lot of heroes that got us through. But God was on that ball field and performed miracles that day for all of us to make it through.
Steve, I just want to hear what your take on the GOP lineup and the murderer's row when you go from Schmidt to Pfluger. Subi, you guys have got some bats as we get back to action here.
You know, I told Roger before the game, and you know, we've been in practice, you kind of see everybody honing their skills along the way over months. I told Roger, I said, this is the best lineup I've seen top to bottom since I've been playing in 2008. But Steve Garvey is here today. You know, I think everybody listening that knows baseball knows Steve Garvey. I mean, a hero for the Dodgers, hit a home run in the World Series, and he's a candidate for the Senate out there in California. But Steve's out here giving a little inspiration to us, and he said, man, you guys got some hitters, and he was impressed. So you know, we're taking it serious, but we're having fun too.
Stubby strikes out, second time in 2 innings, 2 outs now with the bases still loaded for the Republicans, and Brad Finstad will take a chance to try and get some runs across after a promising start here for the GOP.
Aguilar seems to be fooling them with some off-speed stuff there.
Now, look, Finstad's going to get a good hit. Finstad's a player. He played in high school. He started in high school. He actually got drafted by the Pittsburgh Pirates. So, you know, he's a congressman from Minnesota, but he's got some real skills in baseball, and you can see it in practice.
What's the buzz in the dugout here facing Aguilar this year compared to DeLuzio, the starter last year?
Well, you know, they've had a few different pitchers, you know, since Cedric Richmond retired from Congress. They've kind of, they'd Ossoff.
A force out at second ends the inning, and the Republicans do not score for 2 after 1.5.
I feel like Nancy Pelosi's definitely How about your boy, Jared Moskowitz? I don't see him on the field.
My boy, dude. I want to do a mashup of that guy. Moskowitz being Moskowitz. Hard to watch, but whatever. He's a character. They're Muppets.
The House will be in order.
This year, C-SPAN celebrates 45 years of covering Congress like no other.
Hey, guys.
Since 1979, we've been your primary source for Capitol Hill, providing balanced, unfiltered coverage of government, taking you to where the policy is debated and decided, all with the support of America's cable companies.
Yeah, I go too far.
C-SPAN, 45 years and counting, powered by cable.
I go too far. So this is a good time to talk about the Dave the Lawyer store mugs, Tears of Opposing Counsel. I've had some orders in. You know, family, everybody in the family is getting a mug for Father's Day this year, you know.
Dad, if you're still watching, I just want you to know your order is on the way. You're getting 2 mugs.
There we go. Let me drop the link
Happy
for
Father's Day.
Oh, that's not the link.
Bruce and Larry already got their mugs.
That's the link.
Lyndon, Jeremy, and Jack all need their mugs.
Do this. just click on in, chat. I think we accept Apple Pay. You know. Let's see. Let me check right now. Just gonna go on my phone.
So like, how do they raise money for charity at this congressional baseball game? Like, obviously they don't care about ticket sales. That's why it's empty. But like, are there sponsors? Like, does the team that win get
And
to
just
choose,
waiting
like,
for
a
the
charity
congressional
they're
baseball
gonna
game to resume
give the
after
money to?
this
Like, how
short
does it
break.
work?
While we wait, we'll let you know the game is also available to watch on the go with our
Where do they
C-SPAN
get the
Now
money
video
from,
app.
though?
Ticket sales, right? Maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. That's just a guess.
I don't know.
Apple Pay does work at Dave the Lawyer's store.
Or is this taxpayer funded?
Oh, for sure.
Charity game?
They probably. Now, that's the question: is if they're spending more than they're earning for charity, it's probably 100% yes.
How many congressmen like flew on their private jets to get there?
They're supposed to be in Washington right now. I watched Senate hearing and live White House press briefing with Portland Andy in chat. We watch No We Ain't Gonna Like It. What's that? What does that mean? I missed something. Port and Andy. Chat.
Actually happened to be an alum at. So amazing, vast history of the congressional baseball game. Absolutely cool to see it hop from stadium to stadium. Obviously has been here at Nats Park since 2008, guys.
Great stuff, Annie. Thank you. As we head to the bottom of the second inning here, and Greg Stubbe's had a tough night at the plate trying to take care of some business out on the mound, and he's able to get the first out as Greg Stanton will pop out here on the right side of the infield, and Feenstra coming up and making the play and throwing that Twins hat back on.
Yeah, I got a call in the infield there. Feenstra backpedaling. Brad Winstrup from Ohio, the second baseman, coming over. Feenstra puts it away, but they had a little bit of a minor collision there, John. No harm, no foul.
So the bottom of the order, before we flip it around, Tony Cardenas takes a whack for the first time here. One out in the bottom of the second.
Tony Cardenas retiring this year. Right fielder, as I mentioned, he's the roommate of the first baseman here, the senator from California, Alex Padilla.
California 29th, San Fernando Valley.
Cardenas, he's played in 9 games, but he is looking for his first base hit. 0 for 8 in those 9 games.
They all do different.
And behind in the count here, 0-1. Stubbe rocks, and he fires. A little bit of movement on that and drops right into the strike. That's when Stubbe is the most effective, when he can drop that in for a strike. That's a tough pitch to
didn't do great. Yeah, I think
take a swing at if you're a Democrat.
We talked to Roger Williams about the so-called breaking stuff that he throws here. He called that a spinner, is what he called that.
Which will stay up and in here. One ball and 2 strikes.
You know, Andy talked about some of the stadiums here. Jimmy Panetta, the center fielder for the Democrats, he talked about going to Memorial Stadium in Baltimore, watching his dad play, Leon Panetta, the former congressman, CIA director back in the 1970s. Big memory, he says about that. And you know, there is a congressional tie to that stadium, in fact, John. Nancy Pelosi, the former Speaker of the House, her dad was a congressman, mayor of Baltimore. He got that stadium built and lured the old St. Louis Browns to Baltimore. They became the Orioles.
Swung on right back to the box. Stubbe on across to Feenstra. And quickly 2 outs for the Democrats here in the bottom of the second.
One of the most efficient starts to an inning we've seen the past couple of years, John.
Back to the top here, and Raul Ruiz. 2 quick outs after Stubbe got himself into some trouble in the first.
Ruiz got a second life there in his last at bat after Morgan Luttrell dropped the pop-up behind home plate.
Ruby had a pitch up and in. He tried to get it to drop across the strike zone, but stayed away. 4 runs, 6 hits, no errors for the Republicans. 2 runs, 4 hits, 2 errors already for the Democrats in the field.
Like, how much better would this be if Tom Brady and Gronk?
He looks toward the plate. And a ball that stays high again, 2-0.
Well, we as a doctor, the top Democrat on the COVID subcommittee investigating the pandemic.
2-0 pitch coming from Stubbe. And that'll drop in for a strike.
He's wearing the uniform of San Jacinto Leadership Academy, Lions. Last year he had something that looked like a version of the Houston Astros with those stripes across the top. If you remember that, probably the loudest uniform we saw.
Here's a ball hit into left field, a base hit for Ruiz. He's 2 for 2. And 2 solid knocks in as many innings for the second baseman.
Line drive over the head of the leaping August Fluger. Eric Schmidt returns it to the infield. A 2-out hit for the Democrats.
So Chris DeLuzio trying to extend the inning here. Scored a run in the first inning. Stole a base as well. Jimmy Panetta would hit. He's on deck.
Greg Kazar, who's kind of apparently the Herb Washington of the Democrats here, if you know the Oakland A's reference, now in to run. Did that last inning, stole a base.
I mean, if you have the fastest man in Congress and you can unlimited do that. And there he goes. And he is easily in. And now will he go to third? He will on the throwaway. Luttrell threw it into center field. And then laying out for the head first slide. Kazar goes all the way to third. What a bunch of base running there to go from first to third.
Shades of Ellie Dela Cruz from the Reds there, taking the extra base. You know, we talked about him being the fastest man in Congress after winning the Capitol Challenge last month. He had a great line to us. He said, look, you know, he said, John Thune, the Republican whip in the Senate, said that being the fastest man in Congress is about like being the best surfer from Kansas. And you're right, he's wearing the University of Texas at San Antonio uniform. And as I said earlier, ironically, the mascot there, the Road Runners. Maybe it should be the Base Runners, John.
Kazar dancing off third as Stubbe trying to get out of a jam all of the sudden here after retiring the first 2 batters of the inning. And DeLuzio taking an extra beat. Taking a look back at the catcher, and now we're good to go. He's got quite the contingent clad in yellow out along the third base dugout.
All right, chat. Just
a 1-0 pitch from Stubbe. High and a little bit in.
You know, we've seen a lot of Pittsburgh Pirates uniforms over the years, and you see the big cheering contingent for DeLuzio. A lot of the members, they bring their offices, and there's kind of a competition as to who has the loudest group. They wear the same uniform, same T-shirts. But the Pirates, I remember the Democratic manager for many years was Mike Doyle. Was the manager before Linda Sanchez, the Democrat from the Pittsburgh area. He always managed wearing a Pirates uniform, so well represented here from Western Pennsylvania in the Steel City.
Stubbe having trouble finding the strike zone here, and a swing and a base hit left field. DeLuzio delivers. Kazar will score. It's a 1-run game. It's 4-3 as DeLuzio with a hard knock to left.
Pretty much a manufactured run there by the Democrats. They used the speed of Kazar to steal second, take advantage of the bad throw, and then an easy single to left field scores Kazar from third base. And good defense there by Eric Schmidt. You know, we talked about Roger Williams wanting good fundamentals. Eric Schmidt getting down on one knee to field that ball and make sure it does not slip past him.
Well, now it's Jimmy Panetta, California 19th, trying to continue an inning that already has pulled the Democrats back within 1. And DeLuzio wastes no time in advancing to second base. That ball gets away from the catcher.
Which war was
Morgan
it where
Luttrell.
we like signed a contract?
Democrats are starting to run the bases here. You know, coming into the game, Jimmy Panetta, we talked about his dad playing back in the 70s, Leon Panetta. This is his 7th game. Coming into the game, he had 18 at-bats, 10 hits, a robust .556 there, John.
Democrats hoping he can deliver here. A base hit, good tie of the game. Ahead in the count, 1-0. Stubby's pitch drops in for a strike.
Infield in here, ready to come home if necessary. Keep the ball close.
Stubby at the ready. And a ball that was up in the strike zone. Stubby misplays it, trying to recover, throws to first, and he dropped the ball. And DeLuzio comes around to score, and this game is tied. A misplay by Stubby and a drop ball at first base. Panetta's aboard at first, and DeLuzio comes all the way around from second base. We are all square here at Nationals Park.
I talked about the infield being in there. They were going to try to look him back to the base here. Stubby looked like he was trying to throw maybe before he got the ball. Panetta legs it out, and a little bit of contact there at first base with Randy Feenstra. People roughed up a little bit there. Panetta turned to Feenstra to kind of apologize. Feenstra went down, lost his cap momentarily. They turned to the first base umpire, Paul Porto, make sure there was no obstruction on that play.
So now Kevin Mullen at the plate as Jimmy Panetta will advance. They are running at will here. And coming out to advance to second base.
You know, you talked about the Pirates, John, back in the 70s. They were known as Lumber and Lightning.
Supercut.
My take on this game, the Republicans, they are Lumber. The Democrats are Lightning.
And right now, looking to potentially get the lead as Mullen will pop one up and foul. An update on Morgan McGarvey. Said he planted his foot too hard and the cleat gave out on the grass. Sprained the top of his foot. 2 bags of ice, 4 ibuprofen from the doc, and we'll see how it goes.
Now they do have docs in that dugout. We talked about Raul Ruiz. The Republican doctor, Nurse Marionette Miller Meeks, Republican from Eastern Iowa. She's in the dugout as well for the GOP.
Kevin Mullen trying to extend the inning and potentially give the Democrats a lead, something they did not come close to doing last year. This has not been a good night for Greg Stubbe. After dominating over 5 innings last year, already given up 4 runs and struck out twice at the plate.
And that's Miller Meeks there. In the Dr. White togs.
There'll be a ball that'll sail away a little bit. 1-1 becomes 2-1 as Mullen and then Alex Padilla, senator from California, would hit next. Mullen steps in. A pitch from Stubbe, swing and a miss, and that will make the count full.
Mullen with the College of San Mateo jersey there, and Jimmy Panetta from California's 19th district with the Valley Christian High School that's in San Jose.
Almost looked like Stubbe might have not realized what the count was. I think he thought that was strike 3.
Yeah, I think you're right, John. This has been a longer than usual inning for Stubbe compared to what we saw last season.
Control has wavered at times. He looks to finish it off here.
Last year, Greg
a pitch in, and that is ball 4, and Mullen's aboard with a walk. So the inning continues for the Democrats here. And Alex Padilla will be the latest to try and make a change. And Roger Williams is going to come to the mound here for what we would imagine is a brief word with his starting pitcher. I don't think he's going to be coming out of the game. We haven't seen anybody else warming up as of yet, but maybe just trying to settle him down. This is not at all the way his game went last year, where he was dominant and arguably the MVP of the game. It's been tough at the plate. 4 runs in 2 innings, and now a threat as the manager trying to settle him down.
He told us that August Pfluger, the third baseman, would be the next guy that he would go to here. Williams returns to the dugout here, and I'll tell you, the California delegation, they are kind of dominating this game for the Democrats. And look at it right now. You have Alex Padilla, the senator, at bat, first year playing. We had Raul Ruiz getting on base earlier. We have Californians on the base paths here, first and second base.
He at the plate, and a ball hit to left field. It's a base hit. Banana coming around third. The swing from Schmidt. The throw home is way over the head of Morgan Luttrell. Into third base goes Mullen, or the pinch runner for Mullen, and Alex Padilla with a 2-out double. The Democrats have a 5-4 lead.
Yeah, Pat Ryan from West Point, upstate New York. The Democrat came in to run. He's on third base, and the Democrats have the lead now.
What a turn of events from a year ago where the Republicans kept hitting and never looked back in a 16-6 rout. Greg Stubbe getting hit around a little bit here. And Pete Aguilar trying to help out his own cause with runners at second and third and trying to add to what is at the moment a one-run lead.
And this is the most animated I have seen the Democratic dugout in the past couple of years here. They are all up on the top step of the dugout here. And again, the Californians, Pete Aguilar, Alex Padilla, Ruiz, they're the ones getting it done for Linda Sanchez of California, the Democratic skipper.
Of the 3 losses in a row the Democrats have suffered against the GOP, a swing and a miss here by Aguilar. There were some pastings in there as well. They weren't just losses, they were bad losses. The Republicans have scored a ton of runs against them, and now Democrats trying to get a little revenge.
The score last year 16-6, but back in 2022, 10-love was the score, the Republicans over the Democrats.
Aguilar fouls this one back. Luttrell trying to make a play, and he does, and that will end the inning, but damage done. Tonight. 3 runs across the plate for the Democrats at the end of 2. It's the Democrats 5 and the Republicans 4.
Who am I going for? I mean, come on now. This is
And you've been watching the annual Congressional baseball game at Nationals Park in Washington, D.C. First organized in 1909 by Pennsylvania Representative and professional baseball player John Tenner. The game went on to become an annual tradition that now benefits local D.C. area charities.
We're not shy around here.
Proceeds also go toward the United States Capitol Police Memorial Fund.
I mean, one of the reasons I took
we'll get back to the game shortly after
like
this break.
All the lawyers that were, talking about stuff are on the other side of the aisle. I was like, well, we need some balance.
Get information from members of government right in the palm of your hand when you order your copy of C-SPAN's 2024 Congressional Directory.
I thought I read
with bio
7,
and
but I think I
contact
misread
information
that.
for every House and Senate member of the 118th Congress. Important information on congressional committees, the President's Cabinet, federal agencies, and state governors. The Congressional Directory costs $32.95 plus shipping and handling, and every purchase helps support our nonprofit operations. Scan the code on the right or go to cspanshop.org. Order your copy today.
But in here, we want to make America great again. Because we can. It's not too late, not yet. All right?
And we'll take you back live shortly to Nationals Park for the Congressional baseball game. You're watching live coverage on C-SPAN.
Russia, south of Florida. Yeah, oh yeah, I read that. The submarine. Yeah. And we're back. And look, if you're a left-leaning person, you're welcome here.
This inning of the Congressional baseball game for charity is sponsored by Anheuser-Busch. 99% of the beer we sell in the U.S. is made in the U.S. by the 65,000 Americans who bring our beer to life, creating jobs and investing in the communities we call home. That's who we are. We've got ourselves a heck of a game here after the Republicans had a blowout last year and winning 16-6. The Democrats will take a 5-4 lead here into the top of the third inning. John Walton and Chad Pergam with you, along with Annie May.
Yeah, and just out on the field right there, Doug Emhoff, the second gentleman. We didn't have the president come. We didn't have the vice president come, but the second gentleman, Doug Emhoff, at the game. We've had some presidents play in this game before, including President Biden. He played back in the game in 1975 at Memorial Stadium. Faced Pete Domenici, senator from New Mexico. The president was 0 for 2.
What's going on here?
Domenici, he pitched for the Albuquerque Dukes in the minor leagues. Pretty good pitcher there.
Jake Elsey going to lead off the third inning here for the GOP as Pete Aguilar trying to do something with a narrow lead that he has been presented as this ball is hit into left field and will drop in. Oh, it won't. Just a little bit foul.
Just foul there.
Just a little bit.
Don Wood, the third base umpire, right on top of it.
So allowed strike and 0-2 now on Jake Elsey. 2 in the first, 3 in the second. Democrats getting 3 runs on 3 hits. Still left a couple on. Aguilar trying to start strong here in the top of the third. And this ball will stay away outside. Jake Elsey from the Texas 6th, south of Dallas-Fort Worth. Attended the Naval Academy in Annapolis, served in Iraq. Served with Morgan Luttrell, actually.
Was a fighter pilot.
Here's a swing and a fly ball to center. Panetta is tracking. It will drop in for a hit.
Someone should have.
So well struck by Elsey to lead off the top of the third inning for the Republicans. He's at first. Fell into the triangle between Cardenas, Panetta, and Raul Ruiz.
You know, I talked about Elsey becoming a fighter pilot. He said he wanted to do that when he was 7 and went on an airplane for the very first time.
Elsey at first and Blake Moore coming to the plate. Steve Scalise talking about his football exploits. One of the better athletes.
That's the other place to watch this.
Here tonight.
Fox Sports 1 or C-SPAN.
Singled his first time up.
And you know Blake Moore's significance politically here when House Republican Vice Conference Chairman.
Ball hit to right field and foul.
When House Republican Vice Chairman Mike Johnson was elevated last fall to become Speaker of the House, that's the position that Blake Moore moved into. He's the number 5 House Republican leadership there. Took over for Mike Johnson once he was elevated to Speaker of the House, succeeding Kevin McCarthy.
Blake Moore, the Utah first, steps in with a count of 0-2. Aguilar's pitch bouncing to the outside. Morgan Luttrell is on deck. And then Randy Feenstra, first baseman. 1-2. Aguilar the wind and the pitch. And us outside. Eluzio having a reach for that one.
You know, I mentioned former presidents who played. Of course, President Biden played when he was a senator from Delaware, or a Philadelphia Phillies uniform. Former President George H.W. Bush was a congressman from Texas. He played back in the late 1960s. And of course, he didn't play because he wasn't a member, but his son, President George W. Bush, was the owner of the Texas Rangers.
So Moore steps in a full count. Aguilar looking to find the first out of the top of the third. And that's ball 4.
Well, this is not what the Democrats wanted to do. Once they got that lead, that rally, they wanted to keep the Republicans off the bases.
That'll bring up Morgan Luttrell.
Have we seen Morgan at that yet?
Well, nobody out.
Could launch it.
And runners at first and second. Luttrell singling in his first time up, advanced to second. And Aguilar in a spot of trouble again as this ball hit to the right side and foul.
Get on second.
A little short hop.
I'm not an
GOP
announcer,
dugout.
guys. All right.
Infield in, looking for a force play if they can get it.
But I do like the charitable purpose behind it's cool, but I like the idea of
and throws and again
playing ball with
into the outside,
breaking up the monotony.
One ball and 1 strike.
Office. miscall.
You know, John, we talked about the origins of this baseball game. 1909, the first game played.
Swinging another pound there, down the left on the right field line. This one is going to go up the line and score 2. The puck, as it comes from the outside, picked up in the infield. That's going to be a double and an advance to third on a hard hit to right field by Morgan Luttrell, and that will put the GOP back in front 6-5.
Yeah, that ball just kind of skated past Alex Padilla, the senator from California, playing first base there, went down the line, hit the little abutment down in right field, Tony Cardenas, and had to kind of negotiate his way around one of the security people there, and that gave Luttrell the opportunity to advance to third base. So probably a double and an error is how they'll score this, John.
Yeah, it could be an error as well, but so advancing to third at any rate. Luttrell just inside the right field line, putting that one down to get the GOP back in front. Back and forth we've gone, and very entertaining here. But Aguilar, after getting a lead handed to him, promptly gives it right back. So Randy Feenstra at the plate here, and he'll foul it right into the Democrats' dugout.
That sent them scrambling there. Again, we talked about that first congressional game, John, in 1909. It was organized by John Tenner, who was a Republican congressman from Pennsylvania. He played for the old Baltimore Orioles and also the Chicago White Stockings, and the Democrats won the first 5 games that were played.
Aguilar delivers, and a pop-up by Feenstra to the left side, caught by the third baseman. Greg Stanton hauls that one in, and that is the first out of the inning. So with 1 out, that'll bring up second baseman Brad Wenstrup. Couple of runs across, and as Wenstrup will step along the right side here, and Aguilar trying to bring it on across. DeLuzio had to go to the outside to pick up that one. Aguilar having a little trouble finding the strike zone. Very happy to have with us, Chad.
We have the House Minority Leader, Hakeem Jeffries, somebody who used to play in this game some years ago. Welcome to the booth.
Been forced into early retirement, but it's great to be here at the game and in the booth.
You know, we saw the Democrats stealing a lot of bases there. Your stat line, you stole 7 bases in your career out there wearing the old Brooklyn Cyclones uniform, right?
That's correct. I wasn't the best hitter, but I had some speed.
Well, we certainly seen that from the Democrats with the speed here with Greg Kazar. A lot of lightning out there on the base paths tonight.
That's right. No, Greg Kazar has done a great job running the bases, putting pressure on Stubbe, and it's looking like this is going to be a close game, which is great for everyone.
This was a very different game last year. What do you see that has been better for the Democrats tonight?
Well, I think our hitting has been stronger early out the gate. You know, we've always been able to hit well, but last few years it's been a little slower. Being able to put the pressure on Stubbe early will hopefully keep this game close.
Now, even though you wore the Brooklyn Cyclones affiliate of the New York Mets, you're a Yankees guy.
I'm a Yankees guy.
I don't know where I was.
I do represent Coney Island, which is where the Brooklyn Cyclones
This might be the best we can hope for.
Of course, I got love for the Mets, love for the Brooklyn Cyclones, but grew up a Yankees fan.
I wasn't prepared to produce
do you know
this
that,
like on the fly.
Jacob Rupert, does that name ring a bell?
It does not.
He was a congressman, Democrat from New York, Tammany Hall political machine, wanted to buy the New York Giants and wound up buying the New York Yankees and brought this guy over from Boston, a guy by the name of Ruth. Changed everything.
Worked out well for us.
Changed the franchise, changed baseball.
Didn't know you were going to get a history. I didn't know I was getting a history lesson either, to be fair.
That's great.
You know the play No No Nanette?
No No Nanette.
And that's not Nanette Barragan, who Democrat
we
from
expect
California.
Nanette is going to get in that bat and the stadium will explode.
Dodgers
she
fan.
comes to the plate.
Yeah, she hasn't played in a couple of years, and she's a good ball player for the Democrats. What was it like, though, to see the Democrats kind of forge ahead here? You know, they were down early last year. This has been a completely different contextual ballgame this season.
Well, Coach Linda Sanchez is doing a tremendous job. She really has intensified the practices, as I understand it, moved it up earlier, a lot of hitting, and, you know, I mean, I think also focusing on our fielding, which has been pretty strong early in this game as well.
Ball hit
great
shortstop, great play. Goldman on across, and what a reach and what a play to get the out.
Right on
6-3 with a star by it. Gets the Democrats out of the inning. The Republicans do damage, though. They lead 7-5, middle 3.
Okay, guys, let's see how we're gonna.
And C-SPAN is at Nationals Park in Washington, D.C. for this year's congressional baseball game between Republicans and Democrats. The event has been held annually since 1909, but has been interrupted occasionally over the years. During the Great Depression, the Second World War, and most recently in 2020 by the COVID-19 pandemic. Expecting the game to resume after this short break.
The House will be in order.
This year, C-SPAN celebrates 45 years of covering Congress like no other. Since 1979, we've been your primary source for Capitol Hill, providing balanced, unfiltered coverage of government, taking you to where the policies debated and decided, all with the support of America's cable companies. C-SPAN, 45 years and counting, powered by cable. And we'll take you back live shortly to Nationals Park for the Congressional baseball game. You're watching live coverage on C-SPAN.
In the booth, big basketball guy, Bill Bradley, of course someone who played in this game once upon a time, Chad, as well, and that's not irrelevant to a conversation to have here.
And we're talking to a New York Knicks fan today. You know, Jerry West passed away today, but I tell you, the guy that beat him, and you know this, was Bill Bradley, 69-70 and also 72-73. Talk about Bill Bradley and some of those New York Knicks teams.
Well, those were great teams. Of course, those were the last two times that the Knicks won the championship. And, you know, that's Walt Clyde Frazier, that's Willis Reed, Earl the Pearl Monroe, Bill Bradley, Phil Jackson, of course, was on those teams. And those are iconic Knicks teams.
I couldn't guarantee not to ask you a question about the Knicks tonight. I know you and I sometimes talk about sports in the hallway there, so. New York is represented pretty well here tonight. Obviously, you have Dan Goldman made that really good play, just as you mentioned the Democrats' defense.
Dan Goldman at shortstop. Of course, I think I saw Pat Ryan pinch hit.
Pinch run.
Pinch run.
Yeah, a couple of times.
And even scored. Yeah, no, it's an impressive showing. Although it's clear that we have a California dominant delegation. I think 5 of the first 6 batters are all members of the California delegation, so they are representing the state really well.
And Mike Levin at the plate here. California 49 steps in, getting ahead of the count, 2 balls and 1 strike. As Greg Stubbe continues to struggle to find the strike zone. 2-1. Swing and a foul to even the count of 2-2.
What's the conversation like as a member about what uniform you decide to wear? I talked to Mike Levin a couple of days ago in the hall. He says he's going to wear a Padres uniform here. You wore the Brooklyn Cyclones. What about the Mets, the Yankees? How do you go about choosing which uniform?
Yeah, it's very interesting because you have some members that will represent the Major League baseball professional team from their city or their state, but many of us actually choose to either represent a minor league baseball team that's in the congressional district that we represent, or in some instances we've seen community college teams that maybe we have the opportunity to work out with. I think 1 or 2 times you've even seen high school teams. So it's a wide swath, but often connected to the institution, the team that you feel closely in kinship with.
Now, back when you played, how did you go about preparing? And talk about those early morning practices. Mike Doyle was the manager for many years from Pennsylvania.
Mike Doyle was the manager. He was a great manager. And we also, of course, had Cedric Richmond, a.k.a. the franchise. And so, you know, between Mike Doyle and Cedric Richmond, he kept the trains running on time, and he was a great inspiration.
So Levin ends up walking here, and Greg Kazar, and the greatest show on turf, is back here to try and steal second base again, as the Democrats off and running here in the bottom of the third.
Literally.
He's he's definitively a speed demon.
You know, you talk about Cedric Richmond. He was 8-0 in his career as a pitcher, a 2.64 ERA. That is microscopic in 61 innings pitching for the Democrats over many years.
I think his batting average was probably north of 500 or somewhere close to that.
Ball gets away from the catcher, and Kazar finds himself at second base again.
There was a little bit of contact there between Kazar and the second baseman. Looking at the umpire, Craig Alden there. And I think that's exactly what Linda Sanchez is coming out to argue here, whether or not there was some holdup there, because Kazar basically had the base stolen. And then there was that block right off the base right there. That's what she's arguing.
Whether or not he might have been able to even take third.
Yeah, and that's Bill Huizinga into the game right there. He did not start. And that's the conversation right now with Craig Alden, second base umpire. He has umpired this game for 28 years. He started back in the mid-1990s when they played at the Bowie Bay Sox Stadium, the AA affiliate for the Baltimore Orioles, just a few miles from Washington, D.C.
That's incredible. I guess he was around during the Steve Largent days.
You know, we've talked about Steve Largent.
Greg Stanton at the plate.
Oh.
And now a collision at third base as they will throw him out at third. Kazar gets tossed out as the base was blocked, and a throw comes from home.
Thought he was safe there, Mr. Leader?
I thought he was safe. I mean, perhaps he should have slid, but it seemed like he had the base stolen.
Looks like Pfluger kind of undercut him a little bit there. Had he slid, he might have had it for sure.
He had the head-first slide to take third the last time. I wonder if it did maybe beat him up a little bit.
It might have shook him up a little, but that head-first slide was a very impressive
It was textbook.
there.
That was major league stuff there. Yes.
Classic.
Shades of Pete Rose.
Well, with Kazar thrown out at third, the base is empty now, and one out. And Stanton with a bouncer to short. Huizinga will come on across. Eastra makes the play, 2 out.
Talk about the camaraderie in the game here, and also when you show up tomorrow, the bragging rights. Is there good-natured ribbing in the Capitol? You know, you guys have been trying to win here for 3 years, since the days of Cedric Richmond on the mound.
Yeah, there'll definitely be some good-natured ribbing. I mean, when Cedric was around, I think we may have been 10-1 during the time that Cedric Richmond participated. It was something close to that. We missed I think a year during COVID, but at this point, you know, the Republicans were ready to break this losing streak that we've been on. But there'll be good-natured ribbing, but everyone comes together around the fact that we raise a substantial amount of funds for charity, you know, for youth empowerment and academic enrichment and extracurricular activities in the Washington, D.C., Virginia, Maryland area. And it's a great cause, it's a great game, and people really enjoy it.
I think there's about 26,000 people in attendance tonight. That's how many tickets were sold. Ticket sales were ahead over last year.
Big number, and I think we may have raised over $2 million.
Yeah, that was the goal. They were looking at $1.8 million last year, about 45 charities here in the Washington area.
Down 1 ball and 2 strikes here on Dan Goldman from New York. And a swing and a miss that will end the inning. The Democrats threaten but do not score. 7-5. The Republicans after 3 here at Nationals Park.
And Republican and Democratic lawmakers competing this evening in the annual Congressional baseball game at Nationals Park in support of the Congressional Sports for Charity Foundation, which benefits D.C. area charities. Proceeds also going to the United States Capitol Police Memorial Fund. The game will be resuming in a moment. Get information from members of government right in the palm of your hand when you order your copy of C-SPAN's 2024 Congressional Directory, with bio and contact information for every House and Senate member of the 118th Congress, important information on congressional committees, the President's Cabinet, federal agencies, and state governors. The Congressional Directory costs $32.95 plus shipping and handling, and every purchase helps support our nonprofit operations. Scan the code on the right or go to cspanshop.org. Order your copy today. And we'll take you back live shortly to Nationals Park for the Congressional baseball game. You're watching live coverage on C-SPAN.
The name is Punky Brewster. So we do indeed have name identification for the dog. And he was doing amazing tricks out there, catching a Frisbee, jumping off the legs of its owner there, standing on the heels as well. It was absolutely fantastic. I don't think that's really can do much better than that. What do you think, guys?
I think that's probably true in our effort to bring it all to you. Thanks, Annie. Appreciate that.
Dog day afternoon, John.
Indeed. Here in the top of the 4th inning. 7-5. The Democrats trailing here. Eric Schmitz starting things off. And a strike from Aguilar. Back and forth we have gone tonight. 4 runs for the Republicans in the top of the 1st, 3 in the 3rd. Democrats get 2 in the 1st, 3 in the 2nd as this ball is fouled up the left field line.
Right through the 3rd base box there, 3rd base coaching box. Kevin Brady, former chairman of the Ways and Means Committee, down there giving the signals.
5 runs, 8 hits for the Democrats with 4 runners left on base. Republicans 7 on 8 hits. And 5 runners left as this ball stays outside for Aguilar.
You know, Hakeem Jeffries, he talked about Steve Largent. He was a Republican congressman from Oklahoma. But what he's best known for, of course, was the Hall of Fame wide receiver. But he pitched that 1995 game for the Republicans. 7 innings, 4 hits, 9 strikeouts, 1 walk. He was a beast on the mound for the Republicans, and of course a Hall of Famer, and for many years had the all-time record for most catches in the NFL.
A walk to Schmitz. And Pfluger coming to the plate here in the top of the 4th inning. Democrats making a push to get the lead, but the GOP bouncing back with 3 in the 3rd inning, and now start off with a runner on and nobody out. 3rd plate appearance for Pfluger tonight, double and a walk. And a throw to first base. Padilla spins off the bag.
A bit of a Washington connection there between Steve Largent and a brief Washington franchise head coach, Jim Zorn. Steve Largent was his favorite target in Seattle.
Runner goes. Schmidt is in easily at second base as Deluzio's throw was a little bit late. So into scoring position, a GOP right from the jump here in the 4th inning. Just a gorgeous night here in downtown Washington as the sun sets on our town. The Capitol in the distance. Absolutely perfect weather for baseball. The 2nd straight year here.
Flag's not even moving in center field, John.
Just a delightful night here in DC.
Perfect temperature. The second baseman, Raul Ruiz, sneaking in behind Eric Schmidt at second base there. Aguilar threw to first a moment ago. Keep an eye on this. And there he goes.
Trying to pick him off, and Schmidt was wise to it and was able to get back.
He heard footsteps from Ruiz creeping in there, John.
So Aguilar with a count even at 1 ball and 1 strike. Ball ends up down and away against Deluzio. And Pfluger readies himself, right-handed batter. Line of the pitch from Aguilar, helped out in the middle of the plate. Hard hit ball to short, juggled, and no play. Goldman has to eat it. Nice play to make the stop. First and second now for the Republicans, and still nobody out. This inning of the Congressional baseball game for charity is sponsored by Google. So Greg Stubbe, who's had a tough night trying to atone for that a little bit, 0 for 2 at the plate, struck out both times, and allowed 5 runs in the first 2 innings before putting a 0 on the board for the first time in the 3rd.
Stubbe at the bat here. You know, just remarkable here in these first 2 at bats that the Democrats have been able to keep Stubbe off the bases. 0 for 2, 2 strikeouts.
He is a dangerous hitter. He certainly has proven that in this game in the past.
And just amazing that he's back in the game. Remember, over the winter last year, John, he fell off a ladder about 25 feet. He was in the hospital, in the ICU. They didn't think he was going to be able to play. He came back. He pitched a masterpiece.
I'll stay to the outside, and the runners are going to advance.
Deluzio doing a good job keeping that ball in front of him, keeping it from going back to the backstop of the warning track there. That's something that both managers have talked about, keeping the ball in front of them, even on a bit of a wild pitch like that from Aguilar.
So now first base open, and a count of 2 balls and 1 strike to Greg Stubbe. And he hits it hard to center field. Tracking back is Pineda. He cannot get to it. It goes all the way to the wall. 1 run will score. 2 runs will score. Stubbe cruises into second base with a 2-run double. And the GOP opens up a 9-5 lead.
And that is exactly what we were talking about, that at some point Stubbe was probably going to try to break through over the head of Pineda to center field, nearly straight away. He recovered quickly, got it back into the infield, and held Stubbe to 2 bases.
So the first hit and 3 at-bats for Stubbe tonight, and it's a big one, and it's a big rip. All going up and over the glove of a diving Jimmy Pineda. And as Brad Finstad comes to the plate, Stubbe hangs out at second base. Instead 0 for 1 with a ground down. Reached on an error. As a ball back in the hands of Aguilar. Needing to contain the damage. Aguilar and the Democrats as the GOP bats are roaring to life again.
You know, you heard the Speaker of the House talking about Brad Finstad, pretty good ball player, played in college. Has not made as much of a mark on this game yet because he's a newer member. Got into the starting lineup this year because of injury.
Instead, puts it to right field, and it will drop in for a hit. Over the outstretched glove of Ruiz. 1st and 3rd for the GOP now.
This was the type of thing here. Once the Democrats kind of got that lead, they wanted to hold off the dogs. We've been talking about dogs a lot tonight, John. But they wanted to hold off the dogs here, and the gates opened the past couple of innings for the GOP after they put up that goose egg in the 2nd inning.
Jake Elsey coming to the plate, Texas 6th. Aguilar trying to get out of another jam here. And on the move and into second base is Finstad. Pitch count for Aguilar at 102. If you are a major league pitcher, that is a lot. If member of Congress, your arm's going to hurt tomorrow.
Yeah, and of course, you know, DeLuzio is their next pitcher, and he's been behind the plate all night.
That is a very large pitch count to not yet be through the 4th inning.
What did McGarvey say about the ice packs and the ibuprofen?
Better hand them around.
Yeah.
LZ awaits the 0-1. The 104th pitch of the night for Pete Aguilar. And that stays down. Luzio, you would think, would be Linda Sanchez's next option on the hill. Perhaps we would see him as he started last year's game for the Democrats.
Yeah, they don't have rubber arms here necessarily. No Mike Marshalls in this game, John.
Ball will stay to the outside, and Aguilar seems to be struggling here. Behind in the count, 3 balls and 1 strike. And just hitting the inside corner, count goes full.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough decision for Linda Sanchez as to what to do. You know, she pulled DeLuzio last year pretty early.
Ball stays high, ball 4, and the bases are loaded, and Blake Moore is coming to the plate for the Republicans.
And this might be the hook here as Linda Sanchez comes out to the mound. DeLuzio last year, his first game, got the loss, 2 2/3 innings. He gave up 11 runs, all earned, and that is an ERA of 33 even. 2 Californians talking there.
Do we think Aguilar was on a pitch count tonight?
I tell you, if it was very high, John. This is like the pitch count of Cy Young back in those days. No such thing as relievers.
Going to stay with Aguilar here. Wonder if he was lobbying his manager for, I got this. No outs and a bases loaded. He better have it.
And maybe just checking to see how much gas he has in the tank.
Probably not a lot. Blake Moore will swing and foul just on the outside of the third base bag. Single and a couple of RBIs. 1 for 1 officially at the plate. Also walks. GOP trying to blow it wide open against Aguilar and the Democrats here in the top of the 4th inning at Nationals Park in Washington, D.C.
Aguilar getting time there.
Moore steps back in. Representing Utah's 1st district. Stays to the outside to even a count at 1 ball and 1 strike.
You know, one of the big issues, we talked about injuries in this game, and something that the Republicans were very fortunate last year. They did have injuries, but not to starting players, with the exception of Blake Moore.
A ball hits just foul down the third base line.
Don Wu called it foul right away, the third base umpire. But the injuries they had were mostly to these designated runners, John, and that was something that's happened to the Democrats. Of course, you know, Kevin Mullen injured in practice, wasn't supposed to get into the game right away as a fielder, was forced in because the injury in the 1st inning to Morgan McGarvey. It's a war of attrition.
Fly ball to right field, charging in, and it will drop. Out to play it, wheel it back into the infield, a base hit and a run scored, and an RBI for Blake Moore.
Kevin Brady put up the stop sign there at third base. Stubbe scores.
Pretty good comeback for Greg Stubbe after struggling in the beginning of this game. Double and a run scored here.
Looks like he stumbled coming out of the batter's box a little bit. I was talking about the injuries. He was one of the players who had a hamstring issue last year. Had to come out of the game. Was replaced in center field by Jake Elsey.
Applauding the efforts. 10-5 now. Morgan Luttrell will step in with the bases loaded, nobody out, and the Republicans threatening to really drop the hammer on him here. Democrats were ahead 5-4. That's 6 unanswered now. Luttrell has had a good night at the plate. Aguilar with a strike. Loading it right in there, and Luttrell with a mighty hack. So to count, no balls and 2 strikes. Aguilar in desperate need of an out here. And this is drilled into center field, a base hit. Panetta will wheel it back in toward the shortstop. 2 runs are going to score. And the route is on again here as the Republicans deliver with another big hit with the bases loaded.
Kevin Brady, the third base coach, waving Jake Elsey around third all the way for the run.
Luttrell is now 3 for 3 with 2 doubles and a single. And a 12-5 advantage now. I would imagine after the visit to the mound, Linda Sanchez just wants to get Aguilar through this inning. I don't know if she's going to be able to do that or not. At 114 pitches, nobody out. And the Republicans are about to have the top of the order up here and a couple of more at bats.
And still early, they were trying to get a pinch runner in. Rich McCormick, the Republican from Georgia, who you and I talked to before the game.
Here's a ground ball in right field, a base hit for Randy Feenstra now. And that's going to bring another run around to score, juggled by Ruiz at second. 13-5 as Blake Moore comes all the way around. Luttrell advances to third base, and Feenstra's on. Runners at the corners for the GOP.
And this is something that Roger Williams, the Republican manager from Texas, talked about. He said, you know, we want to, in an election year, make sure that we win and put up a big score. Linda Sanchez coming out right now, and as soon as she stepped out of the dugout, you could see Aguilar kind of like just go, oh no, not now. I've got the hook.
115 pitches. Pete Aguilar might not be able to lift that right arm tomorrow. A valiant effort. But as the wheels came off here in the 4th inning, the Republicans pounce to take a big lead. A 6th-run 4th here, and a pitching change here for the Democrats. More from Nationals Park in a moment. You're watching and listening to the Congressional baseball game.
And Republican and Democratic lawmakers voting on the floor earlier today in 2 rounds and now competing this evening here at Nats Park in the annual Congressional baseball game, supporting the Congressional Sports for Charity Foundation, which benefits D.C. area charities. Proceeds also going toward the United States Capitol Police Memorial Fund. Right now, taking a short break, Congress was in session earlier today, lawmakers approving a resolution to hold Attorney General Merrick Garland in contempt of Congress for defying a subpoena to provide audio files of President Biden's interview with special counsel Robert Hur. The resolution now referred to the Justice Department for prosecution of the Attorney General. Also today, lawmakers began work on the 2025 defense programs and policy bill. The House will be back in session tomorrow to continue work on 2025 defense programs and policy legislation.
Senior senator following the death of Dianne Feinstein. He takes over. Kevin Mullen is now at first base. And we've got Mike Levin will take over in left.
John, I just really want to know when I talk to Pete Aguilar at the Capitol tomorrow what his arm feels like.
I don't think he's going to shake your hand, and I don't think you should take that personally. That's a lot of pitches, 115 for Pete Aguilar tonight.
We might be waiting till next week.
Brad Wenstrup at the plate here with runners on the corners, and Padilla trying to keep this right where it is. Still nobody out, which will stay a little bit high. 1 ball and 1 strike. GOP on the verge of batting around here, and still nobody out. Here's the 1-1. That is nowhere near. 2 balls and 1 strike. 4 in the first, 3 in the third, and 6 here in the top of the 4th inning. And Padilla trying to find the strike zone, and he did not. 3 balls and 1 strike.
Yeah, that's got to be hard for Alex Padilla. It's your first game, been playing at first base, certainly not getting the amount of work that Aguilar had, but then come in and face this big lineup.
Swung on and hit to second, could be 2. There's 1 on a cross and a double play. A run will score, but a badly needed 2 outs for the Democrats. A runner in from third, but Ruiz turns 2, starts with this.
Great shovel by Ruiz to Dan Goldman. Kevin Mullen on the bag coming in first base, been playing left field. 2 down now, John.
So Padilla going to line up here against Nathaniel Moran as the pitch comes in. Let's go down to Annie Mae for more.
Yeah, an interesting thing about Alex Padilla, of course, from California, was saying that he grew up playing baseball as to kind of stay out of trouble in the area that he was living. Then he went on to play at MIT and was fantastic over there for a season. And now, of course, he comes to play in this game to pitch. So one other thing now that's really cool about him is he does coach his son's Little League games as well. So definitely an overall family guy, as well as a great pitching we've seen from him so far.
Well, ball, it's hit up the left field line. It goes all the way to the wall. A double here. That will put a runner on second base. And no real surprise. The hitting machine continues here.
You know, I don't think they quite knew exactly what was going on there for a minute. The third base umpire, Don Wu, ruled it fair immediately, but
there may have been interfered with down here.
Nathaniel Moran right away, though, he kind of stopped. He might have had 3 bags and he'd been running all the way, but he definitely stopped, and that's why the umpires were kind of chatting there in the infield.
Yeah, it looked like some of the security down the line might have changed the direction a little, but it ends up a double. And Eric Schmitz coming to the plate here. Double for Moran. And with 2 outs and a runner at second. And the score 14-5. Eric Schmitz had another good night at the plate. Very good in this game last year.
And we're going to have a pinch runner here for Moran at second base here, John. That is Chuck Fleischman, Republican of Tennessee.
3rd District, Chattanooga. In office since 2011. Designated pinch runner for the GOP. Comes on and gets a little bit of time here. Fleischman taking a lead off of second base.
Ran a
The House will be in order.
This year, C-SPAN celebrates 45 years of covering Congress like no other. Since 1979, we've been your primary source for Capitol Hill, providing balanced, unfiltered coverage of government, taking you to where the policy is debated and decided, all with the support of America's cable companies. C-SPAN, 45 years and counting, powered by cable. And we'll take you back live to Nationals Park for the Congressional baseball game.
Be on top a couple of innings ago here, and then the big bats finally for the Republicans came alive. Democrats going to have the top of the order here with Raul Ruiz at the plate. Probably have some speed on the bases if he gets on, and the person of Greg Kazar, their designated pinch runner here, Democrat of Texas.
Greg Kazar has a very defined role for the Democrats. He doesn't need to go take batting practice. He just needs to stretch out. Fastest man in Congress has seen a lot of time on the base paths tonight. First pitch, a strike from Stubbe here. The bottom of the fourth inning. Ruiz 2 for 2. He's had a good night at the plate. Democrats are hoping to start a rally here. They've had some success against Stubbe tonight.
And he also stole a base earlier. Ruiz did.
Swung on and hit to left center field. Charging in is Moore, and he will make the catch. What a grab by Blake Moore in center field. Coming in to take away what would have been the third hit of the night for Raul Ruiz.
One of the best athletes on the field, Blake Moore, charging in from center field here, coming together with the left fielder, Eric Schmidt. Makes a sliding catch in left field and robs Ruiz of a base knock.
So a quick out here in the bottom of the fourth inning. That'll bring up Chris DeLuzio. Pennsylvania 17th, Western PA, Beaver, and Allegheny counties. Rack 4 veteran. Law degree from Georgetown here in D.C.
You know, DeLuzio, that was his first game last year. It indicated that he kind of had a little bit of the butterflies last year. Said he was happy to wear the black and gold of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Played catcher in high school.
Looks like a player at the plate. There's a few guys that fit that in this game tonight. DeLuzio fouls this one away. Count goes to 0-2.
Said that he had to shake some dust off his catcher's gear because he had played that back in high school. Says, quote, coming back as a sophomore, I've been training hard in our early morning practices. I'm ready this year to help the Democrats bring home a victory.
We need to start stringing some hits together. The Democrats did have a lead at 5-4, and GOP got out the whooping stick since then. Here is a base knock to right center field. DeLuzio around the bag and stay there. A base hit.
And that's the key right there. Jake Elsey, the right fielder, kept the ball in front of him. Ball kind of skipped through the infield there. Bill Huizenga, the second baseman from Michigan. The cutoff man there. Not quite sure if Deluzio could have taken an extra bag. Outfield will be straight away here for Pineda.
Good shot there at first base of that old school Minnesota Twins hat that Feenstra's wearing there. The old Block M, a couple of World Series wins in that logo.
Jack Morris.
1991, Kirby Puckett. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Tom Bernansky. Ken Herbeck.
Who is from the Twin Cities, no?
Yes, he is. He's from Bloomington. Gary Gaetti, big home run hitting third baseman. Talked to Feenstra before the game. Minnesota Twins widely regarded in the 5-state area there, including Iowa, his state. Here's a grounder to short. And they will get the out at second, but not at first, as Jimmy Pineda is able to reach base.
And the ball on the throw from shortstop, it goes into the first base dugout there. Morgan Luttrell backing the play up, unable to stop it before it went into the camera well there. Be an error on the shortstop there, Finstead, and that means that Pineda goes on to second base.
So an E6 and a runner at second base, 2 outs. And Kevin Mullen coming to the plate. He's had a little bit of everything tonight. He started as the DH, took over in left field when Morgan McGarvey got hurt.
You talk about the quintessential utility man. I think if you look that up in the dictionary, you would probably see Kevin Mullen.
Now at first base, he had some terrific grabs in the game last year here. Is a little bit hobbled due to injury, so not playing as much in the outfield, but still very much participating. The Democrats needing to string some hits together. Kevin Mullen from California, 15th. Swing and a hit to third. Ball kept in front of Pfluger. He'll play it, throw it on across, and get the out. So a hit to runner left, no damage done. We head to the 5th. Democrats up. Republicans.
You're watching the annual Congressional baseball game at Nationals Park in Washington, D.C., first organized in 1909 by Pennsylvania Representative and professional baseball player John Tenner. The game went on to become an annual tradition that now benefits local D.C. area charities. Proceeds also go toward the United States Capitol Police Memorial Fund. We'll get back to the game shortly after the break. Get information from members of government right in the palm of your hand when you order your copy of C-SPAN's 2024 Congressional Directory, with bio and contact information for every House and Senate member of the 118th Congress, important information on congressional committees, the President's Cabinet, federal agencies, and state governors. The Congressional Directory costs $32.95 plus shipping and handling, and every purchase helps support our nonprofit operations. Scan the code on the right or go to cspanshop.org. Order your copy today. And we'll take you back live to Nationals Park for the Congressional baseball game.
to 9 o'clock. Vibes are electric here as we do finish the 4th and enter into the 5th inning. All these people out here, it's really cool to see that they are here for their representatives, and it is all for charity, guys.
All right, thanks, Annie. As we get into the top of the 5th inning, yeah, just a tremendous crowd here. In excess of 26,000 as the Republicans come to bat here in the top of the 5th inning. August Pfluger will lead it off. Another great night at the plate. Double, single, and a walk.
One of the big GOP weapons.
Padilla able to get that one across for a strike to get ahead of the count.
You know, you and Annie talk about the crowd. We were looking at some of the video from the years past and just how much the lower seating bowl is filled in this year compared to last year and the year before. They had pretty good crowds then, John.
Pretty good crowds then, and here, as you can see, throughout the entire lower bowl, pretty well packed in here at Nationals Park, home of the Washington Nationals. Swing by Pfluger and a drive to left center field. Panetta was shading that way but was playing too deep. That's going to drop in for a hit. And all the way to second base. A double here for Pfluger. This inning of the Congressional baseball game for charity is sponsored by United States Steel Corporation. The strength of America is made here, always.
Jimmy Panetta on that double there looked like he had a little bit of a hiccup in his giddy up there. You know, that's the other thing. You go out there, you've been on the field for hours, you've been on Capitol Hill voting all day, John. We've talked about the time that they get up in the morning, especially the Californians get up to practice at 6 in the morning. That's 3 o'clock Pacific time. That'll give you a leg cramp.
Rick Stubbe putting that one up over the screen and out of play. Oh, to count 0-1. Stubbe struck out the first 2 times, but came back with a double that opened up the floodgates in the 4th inning. What turned out to be a 7-run inning for the Republicans. Leading off of second base is Pfluger. Strube with a word with the umpire. And now we'll step back in. Trying to throw some strikes here.
Padilla really taking his time there. You know, no pitch clock like in Major League Baseball here.
Set for the 1-1. And Strube takes a mighty whack and putting it up and out of play once more. 1-2. Taking a look at last year, Greg Strube with a mighty hack. A 1-bouncer into the bullpen here, the visiting bullpen for Major League games at Nationals Park, and that really set the tone for a game that the Democrats were never really in last year. 16-6 the final. It may be lopsided now, but if you joined us late, the Dems had a lead at one point, 5-4. This was very much for 2 innings. It was a very spirited back and forth, but GOP had 3 in the 3rd inning, 7 in the 4th, and that's where we are. And here, Stubbe lines his second hit of the night into left center field. Pfluger will come around and score and tack on another for the Republicans. It's 15-5.
It was that big 7 spot last inning that kind of did the Democrats in here. Ruiz playing second base, kind of shading over toward the shortstop side. Looked like that ball might have took a hop on Ruiz, may have gotten a bit of leather on that there. I talked about no pitch clock here with Padilla. You could time him with a sundial, but you know, that's something that wouldn't go on in the major leagues with the pitch clock. The other thing is that Ruiz, with the rules change in Major League Baseball, he could not play on the third base side of second base, and that's exactly where he was positioned. He had the positioning right for the hitter, but couldn't quite come up with it, John.
So now, with a runner at first and still nobody out, and Padilla trying to make his way through the 5th inning. Brett Finstad at the plate now. Ball that stays high on Padilla to go 1-2.
1 for 3 with a single for Finstad.
So Padilla ready, and this one is hit hard up the middle. There's another base hit. Panetta will play it and bring it into the shortstop. Runners now at first and second. And the hitting display continues here.
Station to station baseball there, first and second, and now we have the first woman in the game. Joni Ernst, Republican senator from Iowa. You know, Alex Padilla so far has been the only senator in the game, the pitcher for the Democrats. Joni Ernst ran several times last year. She's now on at first base, running for Finstead.
So Jake Elsey to the plate now. Padilla loved to get a ground ball. We saw Wenstrup hit into a 4-6-3 double play last inning. And it might take something similar for the Dems to escape this. Here's a pitch that drops in for a strike.
Infield in for the most part. Ruiz back a bit, but Goldman pretty close to the bag there. It's short.
Joni Ernst just announced here by public address at first base. Count goes to 1-2.
You heard the crowd, her cheering section down the first base side there. You know, women first played in the game in 1993, John. You had 3 women in that game.
It stayed to the outside.
It was the year of the woman in 1992 when they first elected the women. Ileana Ros-Lehtinen, the former Republican congresswoman from Florida. Blanche Lincoln served in the House from Arkansas, later a senator, and also Maria Cantwell, now a senator, Democrat from Washington.
Swung on and hit to left field. That will drop in fair just inside the left field line. Instead reaches with a single, and that is going to load him up by just inches. That ball stays fair, and Padilla finds himself in a jam with the bases loaded, nobody out, and his team down 10.
Yeah, that was just a nice bit of hitting there. Dropped it right down the line, just barely fair here, setting the table for Blake Moore, Republican from Utah, center fielder for the Republicans.
Moore comes up with the bases loaded, 2 hits and a walk. And he'll swing at the first pitch and loop it up and into left field, a base hit. 1 run will come around to score as Goldman recovers it and puts it down toward home plate. Padilla will cut it off. And the Republicans pick up their 16th run of the night.
John, I got a question for you there. That was not a pop-up in the traditional sense. A little bit of a looper, but inside the infield. Could they have called the infield fly rule
there? That's a tough one. There wasn't a lot of altitude.
Wasn't straight up, but it was within the infield. The rule is it has to be above the head of the batter. It certainly was that. You had the right situation with outs, bases loaded. Has to be first, second, or first, second, and third.
A grounder back to the box. Padilla will come home to get 1. DeLuzio will pivot, throw to Mullen, and throw it into right field. 1 run will score. Another runner coming around as the ball comes back into the infield. A 2-run throwing error. And more runs added. And a bases loaded situation that makes it 18-5.
That was a nice play by Padilla, coming back to the plate, getting the force out right away on the runner coming from third. DeLuzio tagged the plate, throws to first base. Mullen couldn't handle it. It goes to right field. Tony Cardenas has to recover. Runs across the plate, John.
Well, the 2-run error. And pinch runner going in at third base.
This is Juan Ciscomani.
Juan Ciscomani will run here.
From Morgan Luttrell. First time Ciscomani has been in the game tonight. Played last year.
Randy Feenstra coming to the plate here.
"20 hits, John. 20
it has
hits
been a hit parade right across the board throughout here. As Feenstra will step in and Padilla gets a strike. Padilla already with 32 pitches on top of the 115 that Aguilar threw.
And this is the problem for the Democrats. Nobody, 1 out in the inning, 2 outs in the inning, I'm sorry. A lot of runs in between those outs, though.
So the runner at third, Ciscomani pinch running as Padilla is set. And as the ball is hit foul, just creeping up into the seats. Top of the 5th inning, only 1 out. 1 and 2 is the count. As Feenstra from the Iowa 4th is going to bring home another. Pitch from Padilla, and this hit to the second baseman. The run will score. The put out to Mullen, and that's the 2nd out of the inning. The 19th run of the game now for the GOP. And Brad Wenstrup will come to the plate with 2 outs and nobody aboard.
You know, we talked about Brad Wenstrup here retiring from the eastern side of Cincinnati. The doctor was on the field that morning that Steve Scalise was shot.
Playing in this one for the last time, Wenstrup looking for a knock here. 20 hits, 19 runs, couple of Democrat errors contributing along the way. Wenstrup 0 for 3 tonight.
You know, you look at some of the scores over the years here. This is going to be one of the higher scoring games in congressional history in recent years, and we've had some high scoring ones.
Still a couple of innings to go for the GOP after that. I see Roger Williams, the manager there. TCU hats. There's a strike. 3 balls and a strike here. And ball 4. So as Wenstrup will make his way to first base, the Republicans have just about batted around again here.
I think we're going to have a pinch runner here for Brad Wenstrup at first base.
That Mike Gazelle, perhaps.
We got Byron Donalds coming up to hit, Republican of Florida, and that's Aaron Bean, Republican of Florida, now running for Wenstrup at first base.
Well, Byron Donalds comes to the plate for the first time. Florida 19th, Southwest Florida, Naples, Fort Myers area.
Donalds originally from Brooklyn, played in 1 game. He was 0 for 1 last year. He's volunteered as a coach in youth football and basketball leagues.
It stays away for Padilla. Wonder how long Padilla will be in the game. Luzio certainly could be an option. He struggled with control, and this is first appearance in a game and then coming on in relief.
Yeah, he started out, had a little more gas there to begin.
Swing and a miss from Donalds on a pitch outside. Byron Donalds getting a green light on 3-0.
Yeah. And up by 14 runs, John.
Tell you what, Padilla comes set. And a swing and a foul to the right side that will find the GOP dugouts.
You know, we talked about the rivalry here. Now, obviously, this game is for charity, but both sides, they want to win. You know, Willie Stargell had that famous quote. He said the umpire at the beginning of the game doesn't say play ball, he says work ball. Or it says play, it doesn't say play ball, it says, yeah, exactly. And so he had talked about play ball, work ball, but this is work ball. Definitely work ball here. And we talk about the score, the Republicans or the Democrats, whichever side is on the winning, they want a beatdown, frankly, on the other side, even though there's the camaraderie, even though you know, there's a lot of bipartisanship in this game. They want to walk into the House chamber tomorrow and have that trophy and say, we won this year. That's a big deal on Capitol Hill.
Swing by Donalds and a pop-up on the infield. DeLuzio comes to play it, and no play. Can't get to it.
Kind of in no man's land there between DeLuzio, the catcher, and Greg Stanton, the third baseman. I'm not sure that everybody knew exactly where that was at first. Thought it was drifting maybe into fair territory, John.
Tried to make the play, couldn't quite get there. The count goes to 3-2.
And I'm not sure that Alex Padilla, the pitcher, called it. You know, a lot of times the pitcher is supposed to call 1 or 5, 2, 5.
Ball stays to the outside. Ball 4. Donalds is aboard. See a little bit of frustration there from the senior senator from California. So first and second with 2 outs here in the top of the 5th. And Padilla goes to work against one tough customer here in left fielder Eric Schmidt.
And here comes Linda Sanchez again, talking to her fellow Californian Alex Padilla.
Doesn't look like a pitching change is in the offing. This looks more like a strategy session of sorts.
You know, John, we talk about what this game is now in terms of the camaraderie, and we talk about what a tradition it is, but it wasn't always that. I mentioned when we had the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, here earlier, that Champ Clark, the Speaker of the House in 1914, didn't like the game. Sam Rayburn, the legendary Speaker of the House from Texas, he believed that the game was too physical and canceled it. And it wasn't until John McCormick, the Speaker from Massachusetts, resuscitated the game along with the newspaper roll call in 1962.
Padilla trying to find his way out of the 5th inning. Eric Schmidt, no easy out here. 2 doubles, a single, and a walk. Padilla from the stretch. And a ball across the inside corner. 0-2 to Schmidt.
Schmidt is a St. Louis Cardinals fan. Got to throw out the first pitch of the game after his hitting exposition last year, I should say.
Ball the outside, 1-2. He looks back at second. And a pitch that hit him.
Right in the back.
Sailed on a little bit. They're going to laugh about it.
Padilla's going to come over and shake hands a bit. Say, sorry I got you there. And John, yet again, the bases are loaded.
That will bring August Pfluger to the plate, who arguably is having the best night of the plate of anybody. Doubled in the first inning, singled in the 4th, doubled and scored in the 5th. Couple of runs scored on the night. And with the bases loaded here, this could be a bug windshield situation real fast.
Yeah. Padilla stepped off the mound there right as he started to go into the windup. Talking to Kevin Mullen at first base, gesturing there for a moment.
Once again, they have batted around here. 12 runs have scored in the last 2 innings, turning what was a close game into, well, not. Padilla's pitch to the outside.
Batting around, turning the lineup over. This is like the teacup ride at Disney with all the spins here, John.
A lot going up and down. 1-0 here. Rick Stubbe on deck. There was a time in this game where Stubbe was in trouble on the mound and struggling at the plate, and the Democrats had a lead.
2 more pinch runners into the game here. We have Juan Ciscomani running at first. Andy Ogles of Tennessee running at second base.
Swung on and popped up. Luzio, Padilla. Padilla will make the play, and that will end the inning, but not before 5 more runs cross the plate for the GOP. Middle of the 5th inning here in the nation's capital. Republicans up 19-5.
What's going on, everybody?
You're watching live coverage of the annual Congressional baseball game at
mugs
Nationals Park in Washington, D.C. Lawmakers participate in this annual event to benefit charities. And while the game's in a short break, we'll take a look at some of our live events tomorrow on C-SPAN 3. At 10 a.m. Eastern, the head of the Federal Aviation Administration, Michael Whitaker, will testify on his department's oversight of Boeing manufacturing and aviation safety. And then at 2, Microsoft President Brad Smith testifies on recent cybersecurity failures before the House Homeland Security Committee, live on C-SPAN 3. Again, just waiting for the annual Congressional baseball game at Nationals Park in Washington, D.C. to resume. Watching live coverage on C-SPAN.
It's going to be the House Judicial, and they're going to be doing a hearing on the Manhattan DA, Alvin Bragg. You can hit that bell for notifications, subscribe, but also if you go into the the live feed on my channel, you can go ahead and hit that reminder if you're interested, because I don't think Alvin Bragg will be there. I can go ahead and look at the witness list right now, but they're going to be talking about Alvin Bragg. Let's see, House Judiciary, Manhattan DA. And the witnesses are Attorney General of the State of Missouri, Commissioner of the Federal Election Commission, and an attorney. So it's the Honorable Andrew Bailey, Attorney General, State of Missouri, Trey Traynor, Commissioner, Federal Election Commission, and Elizabeth Price Foley of Counsel, Baker Hostetler. Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. That's here on Dave the Lawyer.
America's oldest ballpark is set to host a celebration a century in the making when the Giants take on the Cardinals in a special tribute to the Negro Leagues. Live from the historic Rickwood Field in Birmingham, Alabama, June 20th, only on Fox. John Walton and Chet Bergam with you here, high above the ballpark. You're at Nationals Park in Washington, D.C. with a 19-5 lead for the Republicans.
I didn't get to talk about Jackie Robinson when we had Hakeem Jeffries, the Democratic leader, up here. Of course, played for the Brooklyn Dodgers, broke the color barrier in 1947. He has a picture, Jeffries does, of Jackie Robinson stealing home up in his office.
So important to the game as Padilla steps in here, leading off. Right-handed hitting pitcher up against Greg Stubbe. Jackie Robinson here and in every Major League ballpark. Number 42 retired by every team in Major League Baseball. Stubbe the 0-1. Inside. That'll even the count, but he has had much better night at the plate than he has had on the mound, with a couple of RBIs, stolen base, extra base hit mixed in.
And this could be the last inning for Stubbe here. Roger Williams, the GOP skipper, said he would go 5.
This is grounded just foul down the third base line. Stubbe has rallied quite well, putting a couple of zeros up on the board in the third and fourth inning, trying to replicate that here in the fifth for Roger Williams and his staff. Stubbe toes the rubber as Padilla steps back in. And the 1-2. Swung on and hit into left field, right between the third baseman Pfluger and the shortstop Huizinga. That's a base hit for Padilla.
Round ball with eyes there, John. They need some of those for the Democrats.
They're going to need about 24 more of those.
Yeah, and guess who is coming back onto the field here from the University of Texas at San Antonio?
The greatest show on turf.
The fastest man in Congress.
No doubt what will happen here. They will utilize his speed as Pete Aguilar will attempt to keep it going.
He goes.
And not even a throw from Morgan Luttrell. Oh, the runner at second base.
Road Runners of University of Texas at San Antonio. Not even worth holding him on. He might steal third here.
I think that's pretty much a guarantee. Big lead off of second base. He did get thrown out at third, though, while the minority leader was in here.
Had he slid, he might have had that base there, John. You know, we talk about the designated runners. This goes back, way back. You had Samuel Winslow, who was a Republican congressman from Massachusetts, played at Harvard, played in the Cape Cod League. He was the first pinch runner, and I'm told that he could really not hit it much. That's why they had him run.
Well, the runner at second here as Aguilar trying to chip away at what is quite the lopsided score at present. Ruby's pitch, swing and a miss. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
We talk about some speed on the base paths. We alluded earlier to Steve Largent, mostly known in congressional circles here for his pitching prowess on the mound. But he had some speed too with those 819 career catches.
Runner at second, nobody out. Subi's 1-2 is lined into left field, a base hit. Aguilar had to go upstairs to get that one. Cazar will make his way to third. Runners at the corners for the Democrats with nobody out.
Yep, they held him up at third base there. First, I thought they were going to wave him around. Held him up at third on the corners right now. First and third for the Democrats.
Tom Swazi's going to hit for the first time. New York's 3rd district, replacing George Santos there. Boston College, where he went to school.
And we have a new pinch runner into the ball game here. Sharice Davids, Democrat from Kansas, back into the game, running at first base here.
Swazi's son Joe, professional baseball player in the Mets organization in AA. Swazi hits his ball to first. The play made there, and Cazar will come home and score. And the umpire got knocked over in the process, and he's a little slow to get up here.
Yeah, they threw wildly to home plate as Cazar scored. That's Jerry Burke, the home plate umpire. Got undercut there as Tom Swazi was put out at first base, and you have the medical staff coming out right away. I mentioned Marionette Miller Meeks, the Republican congresswoman from Iowa.
Well, they will take a look and see exactly how this one unfolded. You had the play to the bag for the outs, and then the throw home, and he got hit up high with the catcher's mask of Morgan Luttrell. It's going to be a better angle of it. You see him get knocked down.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You know, Morgan Luttrell, he had kept the mask on in the old days. They used to tell the catchers to take the mask off. That's not the case now, but the umpire had taken his mask off, Jerry Burke, to see the play. He's now setting up a little bit, but he got it in the upper body there. A little bit of applause from the crowd here. Make sure he's okay. The other umpires, Paul Porto, Craig Alden, Don Wu, in to check on their colleague. Rich McCormick, Republican congressman from Georgia, who's a doctor, came in. And here comes Raul Ruiz, who's also a doctor, the Democrat from California.
It is an all Virginia umpiring crew. The home plate umpire Jerry Park now to his feet. He's from Burke, Virginia. Paul Porto from Potomac Falls. Craig Alden, and Chad mentioned earlier, his 29th consecutive game. He's from Reston. And Don Wu in Arlington.
And you can see the base runner there, the pinch runner, Sharice Davids at second base, sitting on second base, reading her lips. Is he okay? She was asking.
She is at second base. And Greg Stanton due up as Linda Sanchez coming out to check it out. And it looks like after some questioning from Raul Ruiz, doctor on call, looks like he's going to be okay. So a hand from both sides here, and from those who remain here at Nationals Park.
Smile there from Jerry Burke as he talks to the catcher, Morgan Luttrell, and a hug.
Good to see him smiling. He's all right.
Yeah. And applause from the crowd, John. Going to stay in the game here.
Oh, a wipe of the plate after the run scores. Cazar comes around to get the Democrats a 6th run of the evening.
That's how many runs they had last year, John. Republicans taking that game 16-6. Pinch hitter here, another Californian, Nanette Berrigan, chairwoman of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus and a serious Dodgers fan.
I can see that.
Became a real Dodgers fan back when Fernando Valenzuela was pitching for the Dodgers back in the early 80s.
California 44th, south of Los Angeles. Youngest of 11 siblings. Nanette Berrigan steps in here and cracks one into left field. Caught by the left fielder, Eric Schmidt. And a double play as the runner doubled off second base. 6 to left field to second base for the double play. That's the end of 5, 19-6.
Republican and Democratic lawmakers are competing this evening in the annual Congressional baseball game at Nationals Park in support of the Congressional Sports for Charity Foundation, which benefits D.C. area charities. Proceeds also go toward the United States Capitol Police Memorial Fund. The game will resume in a moment. Get information from members of government right in the palm of your hand when you order your copy of C-SPAN's 2024 Congressional Directory, with bio and contact information for every House and Senate member of the 118th Congress, important information on congressional committees, the President's Cabinet, federal agencies, and state governors. The Congressional Directory costs $32.95 plus shipping and handling, and every purchase helps support our nonprofit operations. Scan the code on the right or go to cspanshop.org. Order your copy today. Nationals Park for the Congressional baseball game shortly. You're watching live coverage on C-SPAN.
Game for Charity is sponsored by Visa, where individuals and small businesses succeed, communities thrive. Great look at the Capitol on a gorgeous night for baseball here in Washington. We got a new pitcher for the Democrats here in the top of the 6th inning. Chris DeLuzio going to take over.
We talked about him, John, being the starting pitcher last year. He worked 2 1/3 in his debut. Gave up 11 runs, all earned. 0-1 with an ERA of 33.
It was a tough go for him last year, starting and ultimately losing the game. 11 runs in 2 2/3 innings. That'll leave a mark. Strike here from DeLuzio.
And they basically kind of changed up the batteries here. You have Pete Aguilar now catching. Started this game, changing the battery.
Pitch is over the head of Greg Stubbe, and I don't know, from a physical standpoint, I don't know that anyone's going to have a better argument for being sore tomorrow than Pete Aguilar, not just throwing 115 pitches, but having to put on the catcher's gear and go back and catch. That is a hard day's work there.
Yeah. Or for that matter, DeLuzio catching and then coming out and pitching. You know, they've had some pretty good pitchers in this game over the years. I mentioned Jim Bunning, the Republican congressman and senator from Kentucky.
3-0 pitch swung on as Stubbe had the green light. He'll foul this away beyond the first base dugout.
Bunning, the only player to ever throw a no-hitter in both leagues. And they had Vinegar Ben Mizell, Republican congressman from North Carolina, two-time All-Star, was a pitcher, played for the Cardinals and the Pirates, won the World Series with the Pirates in 1960, and was an original member of the 1962 New York Mets.
So Stubbe walks, and DeLuzio's entrance into the game, at least at pitcher, it's off to a rough start. Andrew Clyde is going to pinch run at first base for the GOP.
First time we have seen Clyde in the game.
Brad Finstad at the plate. Shortstop takes the ball. Republican from Minnesota with a couple of base knocks tonight.
You know who we've not really seen here except running for Scalise was William Timmons at the beginning of the game. We've seen a lot of other pinch runners tonight.
DeLuzio having trouble locating the strike zone here. And 2 balls and no strikes. John Walton, Chad Pergram, Annie Mae with you here. Nationals Park in Washington. Annual Congressional baseball game. Close for 2 innings. And the Republicans have had their way with the Dems ever since.
And it just seems, with the exception of that 3rd and 4th inning, it has been a constant cavalcade of base runners on for the Republicans. And that's the case right now with the runner, Andrew Clyde, down at first base. Andrew Clyde.
20 hits. Mix in a couple reaching on errors, some walks. And it has been a steady parade on the base pass. And here is another walk, this time to Finstad. So 2 on. And nobody out. Jake Elsey going to come to the plate.
And another pinch runner here, Rich McCormick. Back in the game running at first base, was out attending to the home plate umpire Jerry Burke after the collision with the catcher Morgan Luttrell.
Fly ball to right field. Off the bat of Elsey, and in short right, Raul Ruiz able to catch up to it.
They had called the infield fly rule there. We've talked about that a number of times, and they called that right away. Now you're going to have a pinch runner again. I believe they're going to try. They're trying to bring Marionette Miller Meeks into the game, the Republican from Iowa. But the pinch hitter is already in the game here. This is Tim Burchett, Republican of Tennessee. Wears the number 435, of course, the number of members of the House of Representatives. And off the field earlier, he was wearing a Massey Ferguson ball cap. That was his cap of choice.
Tennessee 2nd District, former mayor of Knox County in Tennessee, and the largest uniform number in the building tonight.
435.
I'll stay up a little bit.
And you know what I notice about Tim Burchett's uniform here, John? He does not have his signature Carhartt jacket on. That is something that he is known for wearing almost all seasons around the Capitol. He does not have that on tonight as he steps in against Chris DeLuzio.
Count goes to 2-1. Number 435 in your program, number 1 in your hearts. Tim Burchett. Ball stays to the outside. Strike zone and Chris DeLuzio are not friends at the moment. Burchett steps back in. A 3-1 from DeLuzio is in for a strike. Let's go down to Annie Mae.
Yeah, and Chad just mentioned it. Representative Tim Burchett, bringing Carhartt to Congress is the quote. But also, this is what he said. It's, quote, just like me, American made, holds up under pressure, and is cheap. I just thought that was the most hilarious quote of all time. He does bring that kind of Carhartt jacket everywhere, and his daughter says that it was cool. So that's why he wears it all around, all seasons, Chad.
He wears it all the time on Capitol Hill, it seems. Gotten a little warmer outside. You don't see it as much. Draws the walk there. They finally got Marionette Miller Meeks in, running at second base. And we'll see if they pull somebody for Tim Burchett now that he's down at first base. The first base umpire, Paul Porto, signaling someone in. This is going to be Rich McCormick again running here at first base. You know, John, I talk about the old expression, need a scorecard to keep track of the players. I'm not sure that would help in this case. There's so many moving parts here tonight.
A lot of ink on the Republican side for runs scored on the old scorecard tonight. The bases again loaded. Luttrell 3 for 4. Really nice night at the plate, and Luzio could use a ground ball in the infield at somebody. Try and get a double play to end the inning here, but now the count has gone to 3-0.
This is what both managers emphasize. The pitchers just have to throw strikes.
This one swung on and fouled up and beyond the dugout and down the right field line. Swinging on 3-0. Now 3-1.
We've seen that a couple of times here, John, where they've given them a green light at 3-0. Now wait a minute, they have somebody hung off second base, Marionette Miller-Meeks.
And she strayed back. Morgan Luttrell, you saw she was trying, or he was saying, you got to get back. She strayed off second base and apparently got back in just in time.
Raul Ruiz sneaking in there. Looked like DeLuzio stepped off the rubber, turned around, fired back to second base.
Well, Luttrell with the bases loaded. And DeLuzio nearly threw that one to the backstop.
Walking in a run here.
RBI the easy way for Morgan Luttrell.
Andrew Clyde scoring as the pinch runner.
Randy Feenstra will come to the plate now. As the bases stay loaded.
Another pinch runner here with Juan Ciscomani back on the base paths.
Pinch runners are going to feel like they played in the field for 9 innings. They have been utilized a lot.
I think we just call them runners, John, at this point.
Yeah, just runners.
And not pinch runners, not designated runners. They've gotten more exercise than some of those dogs Andy was talking about in the outfield.
Here's a ground ball to the shortstop, played by Goldman. He will toss on to Ruiz at second. Look to turn 2, not in time. And the run scores. That would be an even 20.
Marionette Miller-Meeks comes around to score as the pinch runner.
Brad Wenstrup will step in here with 2 outs.
Could be Brad Wenstrup's last at bat. He's retiring at the end of this Congress. Last at bat as a member of the Congressional.
I believe everybody in the GOP lineup has a hit tonight except for Wenstrup.
Yeah, and the pinch runners, obviously.
Pitch that comes up and in, and Wenstrup hits the dirt.
Not really a knockdown pitch there, but high and tight.
Luzio's pitch, a little loop to it, stays high, 3-0. Wenstrup did reach on a walk last inning as part of the GOP batting around. And this one nowhere near, and that is a walk. One thing the Democrats are going to have to focus on, you got to find your own Greg Stubbe. You got to find somebody who can throw strikes. They had trouble with DeLuzio last year. Aguilar had trouble tonight. Padilla had trouble tonight. You want to challenge the Republicans and these hitters they have. Find an arm or two.
And that is the difference when they had Cedric Richmond. I mean, he was just so dumb. Hakeem Jeffries, the Democratic leader, talked about that. I mean, he was 8-0. I talked about the ERA, 2.64. Corey Mills now batting, Republican from Florida.
Hey, keep that back foot down.
First time he's been in the game.
Brad Mills, Florida 7th, North Central Florida. Newcomer taking over an office last year. Now 0-2 here in the top of the 6th. 2 outs in the Congressional baseball game here in Washington tonight. And a swing and a miss that will end the inning. We head to the bottom of the 6th inning. And a look at a Lincoln Memorial here in front of the reflecting pool. here in D.C., Republicans up big.
And live here on C-SPAN, the Congressional baseball game at Nationals Park in Washington, D.C. Republican and Democratic lawmakers are competing this evening in support of the Congressional Sports for Charity Foundation, which benefits D.C. area charities. Right now, taking a short break.
The House will be in order.
This year, C-SPAN celebrates 45 years of covering Congress like no other. Since 1979, we've been your primary source for Capitol Hill, providing balanced, unfiltered coverage of government, taking you to where the policy's debated and decided, all with the support of America's cable companies. C-SPAN, 45 years and counting, powered by cable. We'll take you back to Nationals Park for the Congressional baseball game in just a moment. You're watching live coverage on C-SPAN.
Bottom of the sixth inning, 21-6. The Republicans on top here. There have been a number of players, Chad, who were in Major League Baseball and participated in this game. How about this guy?
Jim Bunning from Northern Kentucky first served in the House, later in the Senate from Kentucky, threw 2 no-hitters, threw a perfect game, the 7th perfect game in congressional history at Shea Stadium. This was the first game of a doubleheader. The amazing thing about that ball game, John, 90 pitches to do it. And we talked about how many pitches Aguilar had thrown. He only needed 90 pitches for the no-no against the Mets. Jim Bunning is the only member of the Congressional Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, John.
That's a pretty impressive thing.
New
Rick
batter
Stubbe
here.
is out here. Oh, the plan was that Stubbe was going to go 5. But here he is into the 6th.
And this is
with a big
Wiley
lead.
Nickel.
Wiley Nickel at the plate here.
Wiley Nickel, Democrat from North Carolina 13, wearing the Carolina Mudcats uniform here.
Fouled up and into the seats.
That was Nickel's first game last year as the freshman. He was 0 for 1 last year. Went to Tulane and Pepperdine.
Wiley Nickel puts this into right center field. That's a base hit.
First hit of his young congressional career. He is now 1 for 2.
So Nickel reaches first base. And we head back to the top of the order here, and Raul Ruiz.
We have a pinch runner now at first base. This is Jared Moskowitz, the Democrat from Florida, wearing the Marjorie Douglas Stoneman jersey. That's where he went to high school. The scene of that mass shooting some years ago, and that's in his district. You know, this week, today, it was Sneaker Day on Capitol Hill. Moskowitz, he chairs the Congressional Sneaker Caucus, and he was showing us some of his footwear when we were down on the warning track in front of the first base dugout.
He is big on Jordans, that's for sure. We were talking with him quite a bit about the bipartisan movement of the Sneaker Caucus. Here's a ball hit to the left side of the infield, and a ball thrown away. Pfluger put it into right field. And now, as the play comes to third base, sliding in and safe, Pfluger throws it away only to see it come back. Moskowitz gets into third base with a bit of an abbreviated slide, and the Democrats have the first 2 runners on here in the bottom of the 6th.
Not the most artful of slides there by Moskowitz as he came into third base, congratulated by Joe Morelli, the Democrat from New York, coaching at third base here. They threw it into third base there, trying to get him. Tag was up the line toward home plate there, and you had Pfluger kind of having to dive in.
On third base is Moskowitz, and stepping in now Chris DeLuzio. Annie Mae downstairs talking footwear, I believe.
Of course, Jared Moskowitz on third there. You can actually see, if we get a camera on him, his high top Jordan cleats that he is sporting this evening. So one person that he said that was kind of giving him a run for his money was, of course, Greg Stubbe. He was rocking some pretty cool gold with American flag sneakers for you guys as well. And if you just didn't see me earlier in the game, I was rocking some sparkles myself. So definitely some cool footwear we've got out there on the field today.
Yeah, Moskowitz telling me before the game that he's got a whole collection of Jordans and he rocks the best shoes on the hill. Here's a base hit by DeLuzio to left center field. 1 run will score, and 2 runs will come around and score for the Democrats. Crossing the plate, and now with the ball getting away from Luttrell behind the plate, that's going to advance DeLuzio to second base.
Raul Ruiz stayed in the game there, John. He ran the bases, he scored, and then when they threw the ball past Luttrell, you had DeLuzio hustling down to second base. So a couple more runs on the board for the Democrats here, and a runner on second in the case of DeLuzio.
So likely a single and an error that puts DeLuzio on second base. 2 runs are in, still nobody out, and the score now 21-8.
Greg Kazar now batting.
Kazar getting a chance to do something other than run, as he in the spot previously occupied by Jimmy Panetta.
Kazar thought this was a leg day, now an upper body day, John.
Indeed. And it's been an arm day for Greg Stubbe as he reaches now over 100 pitches going into the 6th inning here, and you wonder how much gas he has left in the tank as the Democrats have started to figure him out a little bit. Putting 2 runs in and still nobody out. So this up and in, and the count goes to 2-0. Stretch by Stubbe and the pitch. Swing and a miss by Kazar.
You know, I keep talking about this race. So what happens? This happens in May. It's called the Capitol Challenge. They run in Anacostia Park. You have members of the press, members of Congress, Supreme Court justices. Pete Buttigieg, the transportation secretary, ran, and he clocked everybody. Kazar did. Beat the record by former Congressman Mike Gallagher from Wisconsin the past couple of years here. Known for his foot speed, but we'll see what he can do with the bat.
Stubbe trying to keep from the walk here, and Kazar will swing and miss to run the count full.
He said we know what he can do with his legs there. It looked like he was swinging from the heels a bit there, John.
3-2 pitch coming up. Nobody out here in the bottom of the 6th. And he's going to strike out looking. Looked like it caught the inside corner there. And Kazar is down on strikes at a first out in the bottom of the 6th.
And DeLuzio just stole third.
Trell dropped the ball. So now Kevin Mullen will come to the plate.
For a guy with some of the injuries, the knee, we didn't think he would get much playing time. He's been in ever since Morgan McGarvey went out early in that first inning when he pulled up lame in left field.
Mullen swings and pops it up on the infield. Pfluger comes in to play it. Luttrell, and it drops, and that's a hit. It drops in between the third baseman and the catcher, and stays in fair territory. So Mullen is aboard now. 2 runners on at first and third. And with 1 out, that's going to bring up Alex Padilla.
Tried to do a basket catch there, was calling for it all the way down the third base line. Pinch runner going in now for Mullen.
And Berrigan will take over at first base.
On the back of her jersey there, the Dodgers uniform says chairwoman. As I said, she is the chairwoman of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, welcomed by fellow Californian Jared Huffman from the Bay Area, who's serving as the first base coach, and there she goes.
She will take second base uncontested. Now a base hit would put the Democrats in double digits. Padilla trying to do that with 1 out. Stubbe's pitch count up now to 110.
Berrigan with a big lead down at second base, inching off there.
Count running to 2-0 here on Padilla. And this one's going to get through Latrell. DeLuzio's coming hard, and he is going to score. A wild pitch from Stubbe that will advance the runners. Berrigan to third, and it's now 21-9.
The pitch went all the way to the backstop, and Stubbe did not even break for the plate to cover.
DeLuzio could have walked that one in as he doesn't cover the plate. But in fairness, he's been out there for a while.
And in fairness, he has almost a 2-touchdown lead there, right, John?
Padilla back in as the count runs to 3-0. And that is a called strike.
Yeah,
no, it did stay high. Thought it did. Thought it was high. Little hesitation from Padilla. No immediate signal. Ball 4 will put runners at first and third.
Here comes Roger Williams out to talk to Greg Stubbe.
Asking what he's got left, I would imagine.
He came out pretty early in the early innings there, John. He's not been out since. August Pfluger coming in here.
August Pfluger is going to come in to finish it up. Baseball player at Air Force. You see the hat there. 21-9 GOP. August Pfluger taking over here for Greg Stubbe with 1 out in the bottom of the 6th inning. 21-9 is the score. Pfluger had a great night at the plate. Good night in the field. Scored a couple of runs, 3 hits. And now we'll try to finish off at least this 6th inning as Pete Aguilar will come to the plate here.
August Pfluger, the main person out of the bullpen for the Republicans. He has a 1.11 ERA that is practically Bob Gibson-esque from 1968 with the 1.12 ERA.
Pretty good pitch there down the middle as runner advances, and second and third is where things stand here.
Pfluger has pitched 6 1/3 innings, 2 runs, 1 earned.
That ball goes up and out of play. Tim Kennedy, the pinch runner there. The Buffalo jersey, raised in South Buffalo, from the New York State Senate to the New York 26th.
One of the newest members of Congress won a special election, succeeding Brian Higgins, Democrat from New York, who retired earlier this year.
That is a strikeout looking, and that is a big out for the GOP. 2 outs now with runners in second and third. Stubbe's night comes to a close. 5 1/3 innings, 3 strikeouts, 3 walks, 12 hits scattered, as they say, and 9 runs allowed. It'll hurt the ERA a little bit, but he actually rebounded very well after what was a pretty rough start.
And that is a big out for the Republicans there, bringing in August Pfluger to pitch, getting the first out. Pete Aguilar striking him out.
Tom Swazi to the plate here.
We talked about his son playing at Binghamton here. I talked to Tom Swazi about his son a couple of weeks ago. I said, how's he doing? He said, not well. He was hitting 125 at Binghamton. But he did get into a couple of spring training games with the Mets. Joe Swazi did. Actually won a game for the Mets against the Astros with a sacrifice fly in the bottom of the 9th.
Nice. Pfluger's 1-1. Stays high. Advantage in the count for Swazi.
Swazi wearing a famous New York Met uniform number there. Bud Harrelson, number 3. The shortstop for many years, the Amazing Mets, also known for that brawl with Pete Rose in the '73 playoffs at Shea.
Here's the pitch. Fouled back. Finding the seats about 6 rows back. 3-2 now. 2 outs. Pfluger trying to find one more strike.
Bud Harrelson wasn't the only one who wore number 3 there, John. Rafael Santana, when the Mets.
You're just dropping all the big
back
names
in the
tonight,
mid-'80s. It is a numbers game. As I always say, John, you've heard me say this on Fox News, it's all about the math. So that's where the numbers are important.
Swazi walks. So the bases are loaded.
Dan Goldman coming to the plate here. He's been in the field for the most part, 0 for 1 with the strikeout.
Goldman trying to make things a little interesting here. Swazi's going to come out.
Pat Ryan again wearing the West Point jersey, running for Swazi, his upstate New York colleague in the Empire State.
Pfluger now delivered to Goldman. That pitch gets away. Not far enough to advance the runners.
And when it squirted away there, John, I'll note that August Pfluger, he ran in immediately to cover home plate. That's not what happened with Stubbe just a couple of moments ago when there was a pitch that got away from Morgan Luttrell.
Pfluger takes a look at Luttrell behind the plate. The wind and the pitch. And high. Even a count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Goldman ready for the 1-1. And this ball goes all the way to the backstop, and the runners still will not advance.
They got people hung up there.
We have a miscommunication here. As Kennedy is caught in the middle of a rundown. Berrigan will come home and score. Kennedy, and now the ball gets away, and Kennedy will get into third base, and now we've got the runner off first.
That's Pat Ryan. They tag him out. 3 rundowns there, John.
That was a wild sequence. 3 different rundowns a run scores, it puts the Democrats in double digits. We go to the 7th, 21-10.
That was crazy.
Republican and Democratic lawmakers are competing this evening in the annual Congressional baseball game at Nationals Park in support of the Congressional Sports for Charity Foundation, which benefits D.C. area charities. Proceeds also go toward the United States Capitol Police Memorial Fund. The game will resume in a moment. Get information from members of government right in the palm of your hand when you order your copy of C-SPAN's 2024 Congressional Directory, with bio and contact information for every House and Senate member of the 118th Congress. Important information on congressional committees, the President's Cabinet, federal agencies, and state governors. The Congressional Directory costs $32.95 plus shipping and handling, and every purchase helps support our nonprofit operations. Scan the code on the right or go to cspanshop.org. Order your copy today.
A little bit of bipartisanship, a little bit of love passed around here. Catcher and umpire, Deluzio taken to the mound here in the top of the 7th with it 21-10. A score that would indicate more of a football game.
Yeah, we're a couple months away from that, John, here, but some teams having mandatory camp right now in the NFL.
Eric Schmidt leads it off here against Deluzio, and strike here. 21 runs on 20 hits, 4 errors tonight for the Republicans. 10 runs, 14 hits, 2 errors for the Democrats. The 0-2 pitch strays away. Count to 1-2. Deluzio was one through his catcher to even the count.
Eric Schmidt, one of the big cogs in this Republican lineup here.
2-2 pitch on the way. Swung on and popped up foul into the left field seats. Count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Eric Schmidt was the Missouri Attorney General from 2018 to 2022. Prior to that, the state treasurer from 2016 to 28.
Hit by pitch as Deluzio let one get away. A hit by pitch with Schmidt at first base.
Mentioned those things in his career and hit batsman in 2024. Second time he's gotten plucked tonight, right?
It is the second time.
Rich McCormick now on to run again for Schmidt.
I want to thank our friends over at Getty Images for some of the pictures that we've been able to share with you here tonight. The stadium, players involved. McCormick going to run here, and a little bit more of a quick little knee bend more than a slide, but it gets the job done at second base.
Nanette Berrigan now in the field playing second base here, and Steve Scalise, the majority leader, led off the game, now batting. as a pinch runner, a designated runner wanting to go and kind of cheating up the line just a little bit there. That's exactly what the manager for the Democrats, Linda Sanchez, talked about. Doesn't want to see them going up the line. Again, Fox Nation just this week, we dropped a special documentary, a 3-part series called Strike Zone, about the shooting with Steve Scalise in 2017. Rallied back, played the next year, had cancer in the offseason, come back to play again this year.
Well, inside and a 4-pitch walk, and Steve Scalise is going to do it himself. He says, Juan, I got this, don't worry about it. And a big ovation for Steve Scalise. This is a very emotional, moving moment. Good on him for being able to do it himself. You see the handshake there from Kevin Mullen.
So he goes down to first base. Kat Kamek, Republican from Florida, will run for him. Kamek, a couple of years ago, scored a run, had a pretty good collision with Chris Murphy, the Democratic senator from Connecticut, who was catching in those days. That was quite a blow there. She was out, but that was a serious collision at home plate.
Aaron Bean at the plate here. Florida 4th, including Jacksonville. Swing and a number to the backstop.
Yeah, when Scalise walked down to first base there, everybody in the first base dugout, Republican dugout, was standing, applauding everybody on that side, the first base side, where most of the Republican fans are sitting, gave him a standing ovation.
Ball hit to center field, and that's going to drop in front of Jimmy Panetta. And a runner coming around from third, a misplay at second base. And a ball into the infield. 21st hit of the night for the GOP. It's now 22-10. And Linda Sanchez coming out of the dugout as Aaron Bean gets congratulatories in the third base dugout here.
I think they're trying to bring everybody in there. She's talking to Dan Goldman, her shortstop from New York City. Looks like they're going to make a change here. Jimmy Panetta from center field. Going to move a couple people around here as Chuck Fleischman, the Republican from Tennessee, holds a bat in hand next to the plate.
Well, everybody getting shifted around here. Panetta coming off. Evening coming to an end here. Just switching the outfielders. No pitching change here.
Yep.
Pitch inside on Fleischman.
Chuck Fleischman primarily has been used as a designated runner.
Fleischman, a solid base hit to right. They're going to try and make the play at first, and they throw it away. Ball goes into the dugout. Another run's going to score. And all the runners going to move up a base. 23rd run of the night for the GOP.
Yeah, that was a good knock there by Fleischman into short right field. The Democrats had the right idea there because it wasn't deeply hit. They had to play at first base on Fleischman, but they threw it away into the camera well.
So runners at second and third, still nobody out here in the top of the 7th inning. And DeLuzio, a ball outside. Andrew Clyde, Georgia 9th, is going to line this one to the shortstop. Goldman will pick it off for round number 1.
The only inning where the Republicans have not scored early on there. I'll tell you, they put up multiple numbers most innings.
Very impressive lineup all the way through, many of which multiple hits, multiple runs batted in. And the GOP emptying its bench a little bit, getting some others some plate appearances. Blake Moore not falling into that category. Tim Burchett hit in this spot last time, but Moore comes back for this opportunity. Ball gets through Aguilar, and Luzio still trying to find the strike zone. Blake Moore trying to continue a perfect night at the plate. Up the middle, and he's 4 for 4. Runners around, 1 and then 2. The scoreboard continues to roll over. Another big crooked number for the Republicans here in the 7th inning.
Look over into that Republican dugout there. The applause, mostly red jerseys there, but one white and blue one. We talked about it. Steve Garvey, Republican, running for the Senate in California. This is the seat held by Dianne Feinstein. Alphonsa Butler appointed to that seat for the time being.
So DeLuzio still trying to find a way to record a couple of more outs here. Good shot of Steve Scalise in the dugout with the LSU hat on there.
He and Johnson, they are LSU through and through, John.
Morgan Luttrell at the plate here. Moore on Moore with Annie Mae.
How convenient, guys. Well, it is rumored, and honestly, it is proven that he does ride a Vespa to his baseball practices preparing for this event tonight. The, quote, scooter commuter, Blake Moore. I'm honestly wondering if he was able to bring that to the game tonight. And so obviously I did some research because I thought it would be funny. A sub 50cc scooter can reach speeds of up to 40 miles an hour. So I can just imagine him flying down the roadways of DC going 40 miles an hour in this Vespa. And I want to see if I can get my hands on one as well.
That certainly would be interesting to watch that happen. Thanks, Annie.
Annie, I think that's the first time we've ever discussed cubic centimeters in a small engine on the Congressional baseball game broadcast.
Morgan Luttrell, pretty good night at the plate too. You can pretty much duplicate that for all those up and down the roster here. Big swing and a miss there.
Annie, next time I want a discussion of CCs for lawnmowers.
I can get that information to you.
Here's DeLuzio's 3-1. And ball 4. To first base. Runners at first and second. Got Kamix coming in to run again. And a swing and a miss for Randy Feenstra as he comes to the plate here.
Go, Walter! Oh, man. I like that shirt. 47.
That constant cavalcade of runners going back from the first base dugout out to first base there with the pinch runners, the designated runners. That's moving like TSA clear there, John.
Ball hit to second base. Play at second for the outs. That's the second of the inning. Runners will be on the corners as Feenstra will reach on the fielder's choice.
Berrigan had it, hesitated ever so slightly before throwing to Goldman at shortstop to get the force.
Brad Wenstrup is indeed going to get another chance here at the plate. This certainly will be his last at bat.
Like to get a hit here. 0 for 3. As we said earlier, he's retiring from Congress at the end of this year.
Mentioned all those runners going to the dugout to first base. It's a wonder the Nats ground crew is going to have to take care of the path. It's probably going to wear out some of the grass going to first base.
Yeah.
Swung and fouled back here.
You know, John, I remember back in the 1970s, Anaheim Stadium. They had a little pathway between the dugout up behind first base. Sometimes you'll see that at ballparks between the on-deck circle and home plate. only field I ever saw where they actually had a path that was above the coaching boxes on both sides at Anaheim Stadium. And they could certainly use that here tonight.
That they could. Stay away, 3 balls and 1 strike. Deluzio trying to rally, and he did not. Wenstrom's last plate appearance is a walk as he retires from the game.
And they will pinch run for him too.
Ciscomani comes out at first to run.
And at bat here for Joni Ernst, the Republican senator from Iowa, has run already in this game.
First at bat. And a swing and a miss. Deluzio throwing one right down the middle that time.
I said this a few innings ago. That was a big breakthrough in this game when they brought women in back in 1993 to play. They're going way back, even though they didn't play. The first woman involved in the congressional baseball game, John, was the first woman in Congress, Jeanette Rankin, Republican from Montana, 1917. She didn't play, but they had her score the game.
Stayed a little high there from Deluzio. No place to put Joni Ernst. And that's ball 4. Or is it? No, that's ball 4. Joni Ernst heads to first base.
And an RBI for Ernst there with the walk. Andy Ogles, the pinch runner, jogs home from Tennessee.
That'll bring Eric Schmidt to the plate. Where the base is loaded and 2 outs.
Spells it differently than the Phillies legend Mike Schmidt, but hasn't quite done this year what he did last year with the bat, but still as intimidating as Mike Schmidt with the bat here at the congressional level.
Big swing and a miss there. The 1-1 now from Deluzio. Outside for a ball. Deluzio having a lot of trouble throwing strikes. 3 balls and 1 strike now. Big swing and a hack that's going to go all the way to the wall. Left field, that's going to clear the bases. Schmidt with a big knock. That's going to drive in 2. It will not clear the bases. But it'll put 2 more home. A huge hit down the line with a lot of starch on it for Eric Schmidt.
Joni Ernst pulls into third. Eric Schmidt kind of doffs his cap. That was a frozen rope to left field there, John, by Schmidt.
Really impressive. Ernst not able to get around past third.
That was a serious swing. I mean, just the technique of that swing. You look at that. That was a beautiful swing, John. Linda Sanchez out right now. Talking to Deluzio once again.
I would imagine some part of that conversation would be throw strikes. Here's the swing. Watch this.
But when you throw strikes, that happens. That was a tight, compact, efficient swing, John.
Bounced it right near the 336 sign on the left field corner here at Nats Park. Right off the Budweiser sign, essentially. And August Pfluger will come to the plate. Runners at second and third. And Deluzio will try to keep Joni Ernst honest at third base.
Yeah, she didn't like that. She kind of gave him the thumbs down there. Deluzio laughing about it. You know, they caught her in a double play last year. There was that diving catch by Mullen in left field, and she didn't tag up, and they got her at third base on a double play to end an inning.
Swung on and hit to center field. May hang up long enough. No, missed. Swazi misses it in center. It's going to roll well toward the warning track. Pfluger's going to try and come all the way home, and he will make it safe. August Pfluger rounds the bases after the error in center field comes all the way home. That's 30 for the GOP.
Yeah, we thought that Swazi had a bead on that right there. And then the problem is with any ball like that, once it gets behind you, you're in trouble. Pfluger being waved home all the way there. The throw, that play at the plate was a little closer than I thought it was going to be, John. Aguilar tried to get the tag down.
Byron Donald's coming to the plate now. And Deluzio hops one to the backstop, 1-0.
John, we have something we've not seen in a while here.
And that would be?
Nobody on base.
Indeed. That has been a rarity tonight. The Republicans got 4 in the first, 3 in the third, 7 in the fourth, 5 in the fifth, 2 in the sixth, and 10 here in the seventh. It comes to an end as the catcher Aguilar hauls it in. A lot of love for Steve Scalise, who walks his way to first base, and he does it himself. Steve Scalise and the GOP with a 20-run lead as we go to the bottom of the seventh.
And live here on C-SPAN, the Congressional baseball game at Nationals Park in Washington, D.C. Republican and Democratic lawmakers are competing this evening in support of the Congressional Sports for Charity Foundation, which benefits D.C. area charities.
Tomorrow morning, Kennedy
right now, taking a short
Judge's
break.
Supercut releases on Dave the Lawyer. Check it out. Hit that bell. Subscribe if you haven't. If you haven't yet, get a mug for Father's Day.
The House will be in order.
This year, C-SPAN celebrates 45 years of covering Congress like no other. Since 1979, we've been your primary source for Capitol Hill, providing balanced, unfiltered coverage of government, taking you to where the policy's debated and decided, all with the support of America's cable companies. C-SPAN, 45 years and counting, powered by cable.
"31 runs, including 10 of them in the top of the seventh inning." August Pfluger on here to close things out for the Republicans. A 21-run lead. And we begin with Goldman at the plate. Congressman for the New York 10th. And 1 ball and 1 strike. This fouled away, and the count now down to 1-2.
You know, John, we've talked about this game being played for charities here. I've just been told that their goal, of course, was $2 million. Last year they raised $1.8 million. I see right now that for this game they have raised a record $2.2 million for 45 charities in the Washington, D.C. region.
It is what it's all about, and kudos to all involved. $2.2 million. Goldman strikes out. So 1 out as Tony Cardenas will come to the plate.
You know, we talked about Brad Winstrip with his last at bat. Tony Cardenas retiring at the end of this year, so this might be his last at bat as well. Been in right field for most of the night for the Democrats.
Luger, the big overhead wind, and a swing and a miss by Cardenas.
And the other thing about Tony Cardenas here, you know, he's played for about a decade in this game, and he still does not have a base hit. Be a good way for him to go out, getting a base hit here in his final Congressional at bat. That went up and in.
Out to 2-1 on that.
His roommate Alex Padilla out of the dugout there, the senator from California, kind of teasing him, saying, "Hey, Tony."
Luger winds and he pitches. Got a bunted at by Cardenas and fouled away. 2-2.
Excuse me, swing. Sometimes that yields a hit.
31 runs.
That is a staggering number, John.
It really is. 4 touchdowns and a field goal. Luger's pitch swung out and fouled away.
You know, they've had some pretty high scoring games over the years. You know, one time back in 1928, the most runs they ever had scored in an inning was 20. We didn't quite get that. We had that 10 spot in the 7th.
Pitch up and in, ball 3. The count runs full.
And again, even looking at the scores over the past few years, let me just run through these. 2019, 11-2 Democrats. 21-5 Democrats in 2018. 14-7 by the Democrats. You know, this kind of you know, pales in comparison to what they've had before.
August Luger thought he had strike 3. I'll tell you what. Jerry Park's not messing around. He's not changing that strike zone with a 21-run lead for the GOP. That looked like strike 3.
You know, we were joking about that with Linda Sanchez before the ball game, that sometimes that strike zone gets very precise the later they get in the game. And Tony Cardenas, he ends his congressional career here, doesn't get a hit. He got a walk, and he's running on the pitch.
Jerry Park said, "You're not close enough." Stolen base for Cardenas.
So he doesn't have a career hit, but he has a stolen base.
It's in the books.
Or is that defensive indifference there, John?
I think that would probably be defensive indifference, but I think for Mr. Cardenas, I think we should give it to him. This is fouled away.
His last game. Another one of those Dodgers fans in the LA area.
Unbelievable to say this in Washington in June, but as this is fouled away down the left field line, a little chill has come over the broadcast booth here at Nationals Park.
I just noticed that. You know, there's a little bit of movement with the flags in center field. You know, we were doing live shots for Fox News across the street here on top of the Hampton Inn hotel that looks over the ballpark, and there was one point where it was both really warm up there today just because of the sun, and another point it's really cold.
Well, don't worry, it's DC. It's going to be 95 on Friday, but right now it is pleasant and I dare say crisp here at Nationals Park.
Yeah, talk tomorrow, talk Friday.
Raul Ruiz has the count run full on him.
You know, that seems to be the difference in this game here, John. You know, the Democrats have gotten base runners and fits and starts here. It was just like traffic on the Beltway for the Republicans all game long on the base paths.
Ball 4. Luger has trouble getting it across, and DeLuzio will bat. Number 2 spot in the Democrats' order tonight. Playing it all the way to the end. DeLuzio's supporters, there are a lot of folks that have opted for the early exit at 31-10. DeLuzio's supporters, no, they are in it. They are here.
You look down at that black and gold just beyond the third base dugout, John, and that looks like the Pirates of the 70s. We are family with Pop Stargell and Kent Tekulve, Dave Parker.
The Deluzio clan still making it rain in here. This a put out to third base for the GOP. Izinga will take the catch there, and down to their final outs. And Roger Williams has come out of the GOP dugout here, and is he making a pitching change with one out in a 21-run game? I believe he is.
Asking for the ball.
And he is walking toward Bill Izinga. Pitching change. And a big hug here is Brad Wenstrup, who is retiring from the game, is getting nothing but hugs here as he leaves the game. And this will be for the final time, which is why he has the ovation that he does.
Brad Wenstrup wearing a U.S. Capitol Police hat. Again, we talked about him being a doctor on the field that morning. He doffs that cap as he walks toward the first base dugout.
So not a very nice move by Roger Williams. This was what we thought was a pitching change. This was just a change in the infield to get the ovation for Brad Wenstrup in his final game.
And again, just the love that the Republicans have for Brad Wenstrup, because again, as a physician, he is largely credited with saving the life of Steve Scalise during that tragic morning in June 7 years ago in Alexandria. Triaged him in the outfield there. Jimmy Panetta at bat here.
Runner goes. Deluzio will take second. And as the ball's fouled away, so Jimmy Panetta stands in with a count of 0-2. Pitch from Pfluger, high off the glove, and a run will come in to score to make it 31-11.
And Deluzio down to third base.
Both runners advancing on a wild pitch. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Raul Ruiz comes around across the plate. And 1 more strike, all that's necessary from August Pfluger to put this 2024 edition of the Congressional baseball game in the books. The wind of the pitch from Pfluger is swung on and fouled. Up and in behind the third base dugout. And Pfluger one more time. Eyes his catcher. And the pitch. Head high. And the count even at 2-2. And a swing and a miss, and that is it. The Republicans take down a 31-11 victory over the Democrats. That's 4 wins in a row for the GOP. A celebration for those clad in red on the field. And the Democrats dugout empties. A night for charity, Chad, that ends well for the Republicans again.
Yeah, Democrats were trying to get a win for Linda Sanchez there, her second time. A little bit better in terms of runs they put up on the board here, but the Republican offense was just way too much.
Way too much on this night for Annie Mae.
I really appreciate everybody stopping by, watching the game with me. It was a lot of fun. The wife hung in there as long as she could. Respect.
The final score, the Republicans 31, the Democrats
store,
11. Good night from the nation's capital.
And I'll see everybody tomorrow. You know, Alvin Bragg hearing. It's the hearing on the Manhattan
C-SPAN
District Attorney, right? And it's on the House Judicial. That's the House Judiciary Committee. So tune in for that, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody. Really appreciate it. You know, what do I say?